This is Joan. She works in HR and has the same routine every single day, searching through CVs, answering calls, and searching online for the dream contractor. And after all that, she still has 10 jobs to fill. Well, there's a great solution: TechFinder. It allows Joan to connect directly with IT contractors for her location, viewing their daily rates and CVs, enabling calls, and signing contracts, and it has saved a fortune. Simply sign up, choose your subscription plan, and you have access to over 50,000 candidates immediately. Join TechFinder today and connect with thousands of technology contractors.
choices we make define who we are. Like the decision many of us have made to switch to Toyota Hybrid, to a smooth, more economical drive. Working towards a cleaner, brighter future for ourselves and for our children. Because the world we want to live in should be made better by the car we choose to drive. Toyota, built for a better world.
Worried about your next contract opportunity? Tired of wasting time online searching for the right one? Well, let the opportunities find you. Use TechFinder. It's a free service that connects you directly with companies that match your skills and helps you plan ahead for upcoming contract opportunities. It's easy to use. Simply upload your CV, create your profile, and select when you're available. Take the pain out of searching and be found by thousands of companies globally in your location and at your daily rates in real time. Join TechFinder today. Get connected and be found. Available on all app stores and at techfinder.com.
think this is fun for me? You think I'm having fun?
It certainly wasn't much fun defending your actions in Tokyo. Do you have eyes on the target?
Is it her?
I can't tell from these photos. I need better shots.
Yeah, no, well...
Just don't lose her this time.
Thank you for flying to Extreme.
You're waiting for someone?
No, just looking.
Good afternoon and welcome to the beautiful Malahide Cricket Club in North County Dublin. This is Game 5 of the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series, and today it's Scotland against the Netherlands. We have yet another glorious day. You can see the groundsman Philip Frost just doing his final preparations. We're about 12 minutes away from the 1:30 p.m. start time. Andrew Leonard here bringing you these pictures with Cricket Ireland TV and HBV Studios, as we have been all week. And you might have seen on the Cricket Ireland Twitter this morning, record numbers of you have been joining us. So we thank you. More than 3 million eyeballs so far this week. We thank you for all your support and look forward to having you for the conclusion of this series. And what a conclusion it's lining up to be. All three countries can still take the title this week. And a little while earlier, we had John Kenny, who was out with the two captains, Peter Seelar and Kyle Coates for the toss. Let's find out what happened.
This is match 5 in the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series, and what a glorious day and what a glorious week we've had. One match abandoned at the start of the week, but the rest of the week has been absolutely fantastic. And we're into the penultimate game. It's the Netherlands against Scotland. Jerry Pienaar is with us, the match referee, and our two captains, Kyle Kurtzer of Scotland and Peter Seelar of the Netherlands. Kyle, you have the coin. Tails is the call.
And a tail it is.
And a tail it is. So the Dutch have won the toss, and the decision, Peter?
We're going to have a bet first.
You're going to have a bat first, based on what?
Just I think on a fresh wicket and what we've seen so far, I think it's very nice to go out and bet and put them under pressure with a good score on the board.
Sure. Disappointing first game against the Scots, but you certainly turned it around yesterday. You must have been pleased.
Very pleased, yeah. Obviously, if you look back 2 days ago, I think we weren't quite at our best, but I also think Scotland produced something very special. And, well, it's up to us today to rectify it. And I think yesterday, yeah, like you said, we had a much improved performance, and we're looking to do it back-to-back again.
Okay. You've got 3 changes, I believe, today.
Yeah, young Philippe Boissevet is out. Clayton Floyd comes back into the side. Shane Snyder is out. Paul Vermaker comes back in. And 16-year-old Vikram Singh is going to make his debut. He's coming in for Tony Staal.
Okay. Looking forward to seeing Vikram today. Well done. Thanks very much. So, the Dutch have won the toss. Would you have batted, Kyle?
Actually, we would have had a bowl this morning.
Okay, so you're happy enough then?
Yeah, look, we would have been happy either way, to be fair. But what we've come to realise about this ground is the ball's going everywhere. It's going for 4, going for 6. Fast-scoring ground, slightly on the small side, so we know that any score is chaseable. So actually, setting a score is actually. Can be quite tough because you don't know where to stop or where it's going to be. So we felt chasing was probably going to be the best option today.
Sure. A couple of changes for you, I believe.
Yeah, we have Safian Sharif sitting out and Adrian Neil coming in. Mark Watt is also sitting out, and Tom Sole is coming.
Okay, best of luck today. That's Kyle Kurtzer, who's the Scottish captain. So the news from the middle here is that the Netherlands have won the toss and they will have a bat.
And please remain upstanding for Flower of Scotland.
There's the 2 national anthems. The Netherlands one followed by Flower of Scotland, sung out proudly by the Scottish contingent. And before that, we heard the news from the toss that the Dutch captain, Peter Seelar, he won the toss and decided to have a bat first. Before we look at the teams, let's take a look at the points table, because this GS Holding T20 International Series is very interestingly poised. Ireland and the Netherlands tied on 6 points apiece, separated only by net run rate for the moment. The Ireland well in advance of the Dutch, so what the Dutch will have to do is win today and perhaps hope that Scotland can beat Ireland tomorrow, or maybe they can take their net run rate past Ireland. But all three teams can still take this tri-series. Really good preparation. We have a great cricket all week, and with another beautiful day here in Malahide, no doubt set for another high scorer. I've got John Kenny to my left, and you were out with the two captains a little while ago, John. A couple of changes to this Dutch playing 11. 3 ones, in fact. Philippe Boissevin, the young leg spinner, out of the team. Tolly Stahl out of the team, and Shane Snyder's gone back to Essex.
Yes, that's what they said from the middle. In fact, both were in win-win at the toss. Scotland said they would have preferred to bowl anyway, so they're happy enough, so everybody happy. Coming after that toss with the Netherlands and Peter Seeler, as you mentioned, they're winning the toss and deciding to bat. It's the second game between these teams this week. Scotland really ran riots in the previous game. We know Muncie scored 127, wonderful knock that day, beat Netherlands by 58 runs, and they really put things together against Ireland yesterday. Very controlled reply. Ireland didn't quite get to the desired target in the end. We're 19-20 runs short, looking for plus 200 plus, but I must say the Netherlands really controlled the game right throughout. And I suppose it was right and proper that Ben Cooper scored the winning runs. This was the best innings yesterday of 91 with that big six of George Dockrell to end the innings. So it's nice to set up. You saw the table early on, and this is the Dutch team today.
Yeah, the 3 men coming into the Dutch side. Clayton Floyd for just his second start of the week. Paul van Meekeren coming back into the team. And a debutant. That's young Vikramjit Singh. What a special day it is for him. 2 changes for the Scots. Let's take a look at their side today. And I think they're really just rotating, John, aren't they? So Mark Watt, the left arm spinner, going out of the team, and Safian Sharif going out of the team. Back in come the 6'9" Adrian Neil and Tom Sole to bowl his off breaks for the first time this week.
Yeah, 23-year-olds from Northamptonshire. Just one T20, so it means from the Netherlands and Scotland's point of view, every one of their squad will have played at least once in this T20I Tri-Nation Series, which is good to see. This is the Scots team or squad that will play in the World T20 qualifiers next month, all bar Josh Davey, who's not featuring in the series. He'll join the squad next month, so everybody gets a chance to play. The Netherlands, I think it's just from their point of view, they're more experimental. A lot of them, of course, will be there, but they're missing some of their key players. Tendo Scotty, I suppose, is the outstanding name from that particular list, but they're using this really as to bring younger and new players through, especially Vikram Singh. Only 16, splendid form for the under-19 side of the recent World Cup, scoring 300-odd runs at 60, so I'm really looking forward to seeing him today.
And the one I'm really looking forward to seeing with the ball for the Dutch is Brandon Glover. He was outstanding yesterday, bowled the spell of the week. But we'll have to wait until this afternoon to see him, because it's going to be the Dutch opening the batting. And we will see that same familiar opening pairing of Tobias Vissay, who's had a really poor week. Yet to get off the mark. He'll be joined by Max O'Dowd, who batted well for his 50 yesterday. And I'm sure Ben Cooper will be at number 3. Glorious day again here in Malahide, John, isn't it?
Beautiful. We've been very lucky this week, all bar the first match, Ireland against the Netherlands, was abandoned without a ball being bowled, but the rest of the week has been terrific. In fact, the weather seems to have got better and better as the week unfolded. Hamza Tahir, the 23-year-old leg spinner, is going to be bowling from the Malahide Castle end, and the Dutch with their 2 openers, Tobias Vissay, looking for runs. Indeed, out first ball yesterday in the match against Ireland to mark it there. And Max O'Dowd at the other end is about to get play underway in this penultimate game, match 5 of this GS Holding T20I Tri-Nation Series.
Yeah, poor old Tobias Vissay has not scored a run this week. 2 ducks, so it'll be nerves for him. He'll face the left arm off spin, left arm orthodox of Hamza Tahir, who will open the bowling from the Dublin Road end. In fact, from the Malahide Castle end, John.
Yep. Well, he survived the first ball. He'll be happy about that, having got out for a duck yesterday. First ball to mark it there. And it's a new pitch today. It's pitch 5, as they call it, cut on the square here in Malahide. Just 2 across from the Dublin Road end. If you're looking at it for the Dublin Road end, it's 2 across, pitch 7 to pitch 5. It just means as well that from where Visay is batting to his left-hand side, the leg side, boundary much shorter. And anything, we're talking to the match referee before the game, Jerry Pienaar says anything that touches the branches of a 3, because it's overhanging the ground, will be declared a 6.
We might see some mighty blows out towards that tree. I had a look at the pitch this morning, John. Philip Frost, I think, has prepared another beauty. We'll have to wait and see how it plays.
Bit of a green tinge on it, and there's the first boundary of the morning. We had to wait for 3 deliveries, just rock back on his heels and cut that away. That will make him feel a whole lot better, as Andrew has been saying. He hasn't scored a run all week in his 2 previous games, but he's off the mark. Nice shot too.
The first runs of the week for Tobias Visay, and I'd say he's breathing a heavy sigh of relief. A little bit of movement around the crease before the delivery was bowled, but it was short and wide, really cut away powerfully for all the way.
Another attempted cut shot.
A little bit flatter, a little bit quicker from Hamza Tahir, varying up his pace, not looking to turn the ball a huge amount with the new ball, just skidding on this fresh pitch.
Tahir played against Ireland earlier on this year in an A match down in Oak Hill. That's a lovely shot. Beats the infield. It's going to roll away on a very fast outfield again. It's been beautiful weather, as you mentioned, all week, so the ground quickening up all the time. And a couple of 4s in this over to take the Netherlands to 8 without loss.
That's the larger side of the ground, John, but you can see just how pristine a condition this outfield is in, because it not only looks beautiful, but it runs away and races away quickly. We've got a bit of a disparity, a much shorter boundary on the leg side for the right-handers from the camera view that you're seeing, and even though it's the larger side of the ground, that was 4 all the way.
Bit of a flatter delivery, but Visay punches it down the ground. First 6 overs are the power play. That means that only 2 fielders can be outside the inner circle, and that's the end of the opening over. 1 down, and a good start for the Netherlands, and Visay in particular. He's gone 9. O'Dowd yet to score. In fact, Visay nicked the strike at the end of that particular over, and the Dutch are 9 without loss.
Yeah, these 2 sides are both building up to the ICC T20 World Cup qualifiers that will be hosted next month in the UAE. And in fact, they'll be in the same group. Scotland and the Netherlands, they'll be joined by Papua New Guinea, Namibia, Singapore, Kenya and Bermuda. So a tough group for them. And only the winners of those groups will advance directly to Australia 2020, with the teams 2nd through 4th having to battle it out in the playoff stages. We had that tournament hosted in this very country 4 years ago. It's a really good tournament. There's going to be, I think, 27 games live on television, and see all these players pull off or show off all their skills on the global stage, John.
Yeah, Ireland just about squeaked through in that particular competition as well, and they will face Hong Kong. That'll be interesting. I know Hong Kong are in a little bit of turmoil. 1 or 2 of their players refusing to play, but that's been coached as this first ball of the afternoon is bowled by Kyle Kurtzer. It's not Kurtzer, my apologies.
Big Ali Evans.
It's Big Ali Evans, who's bowling from the Dublin Road end. But Trent Johnston is the new head coach of Hong Kong, and that'll be an interesting matchup, Ireland against Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's not the first time a former Irish international has been part of the opposition coaching staff. We saw John Mooney, the fielding coach for Afghanistan, as Afghanistan broke Irish hearts, the World Cup qualifier last year.
Good start from Evans. 2 balls right on the money.
Been impressed with the Scottish fielding this week, John. I think they've looked really sharp. Probably the best of the 3 fielding sides we've seen on offer, and this is what Ali Evans does. He tries to come in and hit the deck, not allow a batsman to free their arms.
2 for 20 and 1 for 21, Netherlands and Ireland respectively. That ball is in the air and it's sliced away. That's not exactly where he wanted to hit that, Visay. And a bit of a fumble in the outfield from Tahir, and they run through for 2, but he certainly didn't mean that.
It's not exactly where he was looking to hit that one, John. It skews off the outside edge over the head of Richie Berrington at backward point. And Hamza Tahir just about gets around to cut off the boundary in front of that beautiful... What kind of a tree is that, John? An oak tree, perhaps?
Yeah, I'll go with you on that one.
Beautiful tree.
Beautiful tree, beautiful ground. It's been developed into the home of Irish cricket. Now, Malahide, most of the games over the years were played at Clontarf. In fact, some of the games this year in the Tri-Nation Series involving the West Indies and Bangladesh were played in Clontarf, but this is the home for the moment for Irish cricket. There are plans to move lock, stock and barrel up to Abbottstown, where they have their headquarters now. A lot of the practice facilities are up there in the Sports Institute, but the ground will take a couple of years to develop. That's turned around the corner from Bissey. There's a man down there, and a very good arm he has too. Michael Leask, you mentioned about the Scottish fielding. He's the best fielder they have. Some great throws from the boundary he has. Very flat, generally over the top of the stumps.
Yeah, he's already affected one run out this week. Very dynamic in the field. Scotland, they look well drilled. They look athletic. Certainly been a cut above the two other sides, I'd say, so far this week. Although the Irish fielding definitely showing signs of getting back to where it once was. It's a youthful side they have here this week. Harry Tector, Lorcan Tucker looking energetic in the field.
Might go through for a quick single here and easily through in the end. It's been a good opening over from the Dublin Road end from Ali Evans, the 30-year-old. In fact, that's the end of 2, 13 without loss. Just one extra in it, a leg by in the previous over to end that first over from Alistair Evans. And all the runs scored so far from Tobias Dissay. O'Dowd, who's batted extremely well here in this particular series, hasn't seen much of the strike. New Zealand born, 24 years of age. Highest score came against Ireland yesterday of 67. It should be a wide, yep.
Yeah, that experiment with spin, John, just lasting one over. And they bring in their big 6'9" quick Adrian Neil, who played in the opening match of the week for Scotland and did extract some good bounce. Definitely reminiscent of Ireland's Boyd Rankin. Comes in, hits the pitch hard, gets the ball to lift uncomfortably to the batsman.
That's nicely whipped around the corner by O'Dowd. There is a fielder down there. It's a lovely stop. Prevents the 4. And a good throw as well over the wicketkeeper's head. Picked up by Barrington, but that was a really good diving catch down there, or diving stop down there to prevent the 4 runs, and O'Dowd's off the mark.
Yeah, that's Thomas Sowell, who's come into the team today for his first appearance of a week, so he'll be wanting to show what he can do. We might see him bowl his off spin later on. One of 2 Sowell brothers who's played internationally for Scotland. His brother, though, I think has stepped away from the game for the moment. So Tom Sowell, really good work out at deep square leg.
The feature of this game all week has been this switching of left-right combinations throughout the game. These are 2 right-handers here out in the middle at the moment, and that's in the air, but that should be safe and going for bounce. 1 bounce for 4. Ollie Hares is the nearest fielder to that, but he can't cut it off. There's a real slash at that from Bissey, and it's gone for 4.
Yeah, he used his feet, came down the track, also went wide outside his own leg stump. Again, it wasn't in any way where he intended to hit the ball, John. Skews off the outside edge, and third man's quite wide. He's not far in front of our commentary position here, but it runs away fine of him to his left. Bissey gets a 1 bounce 4.
That's a much better shot. That's gone over the boundary, and our first maximum of the afternoon. And having had a streaky 4 before that, that was a much more profitable shot straight down the ground over the fielder's head, up and over extra cover, and score moves on to 25 without loss, and Bissey is shot along to 22.
What a shot that is, the shot of the day so far from Tobias Bissey. I talked him up prior to the first match. I said he's a little bit in the mould of George Munsey. He's ended up with 2 ducks. I've given him a bit of the curse, but he's firing so far today.
Should run for 4 as well. Can the fielder cut that off? No, he can't. And there is the captain, Kyle Kurtzer, watches that clip over his head. It's been an expensive over now so far. A couple of 4s and a 6 as well. And suddenly, having started well, the Scottish fielders are watching the ball being dispatched to all parts of the ground. 29 without loss now.
Really good stuff from Visay. The 2-card trick, he comes down and uses his feet, gives himself some room, pongos him over, long off for 6. Neil drags his length back. Visay rocks onto the back foot, pulls him away for 4 more. Visay starred, remember, in the GT20 out in Canada, the global T20 for the Vancouver Knights. He's showing why he's becoming a bit of a name around the T20 leagues himself.
Tries to do the scoop ramp. Spoonie, Dilshan, you name it. Didn't quite come off on that particular occasion, Visay. Yeah, he would have been playing for the Amsterdam Knights if the T20 Slam, the Euro T20 Slam, had gone ahead this year. There's still talk about that next year having been postponed for 2019. They haven't quite worked out the dates yet, but it certainly won't be in around August, September. It's going to be clashing with a lot of things like the 100. That should be a wide.
Yeah, Neil's not happy with that because he thinks that Visay's come down the track and he's seen him coming, he's dug it in, but it's clearly gone over the head height of the initial standing position of the batsman. So good umpiring between David McLean and Alan Neil, working in partnerships as good umpires should. Clearly signalled as a wide. But I think Philip Frost has produced another belting deck here. We could be in for yet another high-scoring game in this tri-series.
I was out there for the toss, just a tinge of green on it, but yeah, looks like a very good batting track. Good shot for no runs. Ends the 3rd, 30 without loss.
Let's take a look at the points table, John. If you're just joining us for the first time today from wherever you are around the world, you're very welcome. And that is the current standings in this GS Holding T20I series. Ireland on top, only due to net run rate, John. And the Dutch must win today to give themselves a chance of that title. Whatever happens, it will go all the way down to the final game, the clash of the Celts between Ireland and Scotland at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, Scotland will move on to 8 points with a victory today. So I think Ireland would prefer if Scotland won today, really. So, as you say, wouldn't have to be relying on run rates. They'd be more concerned about winning the game and then taking this Tri-Nation series. It'd be great to win it, obviously, from all these teams' point of view, all these countries' point of view. But it's more importantly, they're looking to the future, aren't they? And that World T20 qualifiers.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been really impressed with the batting this week as well, John. I think some of the power hitting we've seen, perhaps the bowling a little bit disappointing. We've only seen really 2 or 3 standout spells in the week. We think about that outstanding 4 overs from Brandon Glover of quick yesterday as Richie Barrington comes into the attack here now.
That should be out. And O'Dowd knew it as soon as it left the bat. Tried to cut that away. Barrington's first ball yields a wicket. He's been the man who hasn't seen much of the ball in this opening 3 and a bit overs. All the hitting's been done by Visay. And O'Dowd is out. First wicket down, falls at 30 after 3.1 overs.
He's going to be absolutely disgusted with himself, Maxwell O'Dowd. Shades of Mark Adair's opening delivery yesterday. A real loosener from Barrington. A long hop outside the off stump. And all he could do was cut it away and find the man a cover. Barrington gets a gift. The first wicket falls for the Netherlands. And a really special moment now because coming to the crease on his Netherlands international debut is Vikram Singh. He's a prodigy of Peter Boren, the former Dutch captain at the VRA club in Amsterdam. And I know Peter Boren's been watching the stream all week. We've seen his tweets throughout. So Peter, we wish you the best there in Amsterdam watching. We know you'll be watching. It's a very proud moment. You think the world of this young batsman. Let's see what he can do on the international stage.
I couldn't string 2 words together when I was 16. Never mind bat at international level. 16 years of age. We mentioned splendid form for the Dutch under-19s at the recent World Cup Euro qualifiers. over 300 runs in that series, an average of 60. And I mentioned to Peter Saylor when he announced that he was making his debut today that I was looking forward to seeing him. So let's see what he can do. There will be nerves, but O'Dowd has departed and Singh is in his place. Facing his first ball in international cricket, and nicely defended.
Yeah, he's a really elegant stroke player, this young Vikram Singh. I actually played against him myself a couple of months ago on a Leprechauns tour of Amsterdam.
Did you get him out? You were trying to work that one out, weren't you? Did you get him out?
I think
in your
I think he might have been induced by a long hop or something to be pulled out to square, but he's a real talent. Hits the ball hard.
And it's nicely licked off his legs too. That's his first run in international cricket. That'll make him feel a whole lot better. Vikram Singh, and nicely placed too.
Yeah, and actually big round of applause from his Dutch teammates on the sideline. They know that that's his first run in international cricket. He's just 16 years of age. This young man, he had a really impressive ICC Europe under-19s qualifier, made 100 against France, 85 against Denmark, and a 58 against Scotland. So if he could replicate that 50 against Scotland again today, he'd be delighted with himself. Special moment for the young man. He's off the mark.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that outside of our ramblings, we'll have people who actually know what they're talking about coming into the commentary box a little bit later on. We'll have the two coaches. Shane Berger will be joining us, and Ryan John Campbell as well from the Netherlands throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, and looking forward to hearing the thoughts of both of them and hearing the viewpoints of Scottish and Dutch cricket coming up.
That's nicely rolled away into the offside behind square. Leask, he's going to take it on his arm. That's good running as well from the young man. Singh turned and immediately saw that the ball was heading toward Leask, who's the best fielder out there, no doubt. Took him on and got a couple.
The adventure of youth. He gets back comfortably. He's a fit young man, and you can see the way he's driven the ball there. He opens the face on that drive nicely, finds the gap and gets back for a double.
Nicely placed again. Runs it down to third man. Or Adrian Neal will collect, and that will mean that he will keep the strike, and that's the end of the fourth over. 35 for 1. $33 for 1. Tobias Vise, having had a couple of ducks in the lead up to this game on 26. Max Haddad, the man out for 1. And Vikram Singh, the 16-year-old, now at bat. And Neil to continue from the Malahide Road end, or Malahide Castle end. Oh, it's nicely guided. Down to third man again. He did something similar in the last ball of the previous over. He's not lacking in confidence, but that's what you should do when you're 16 years of age.
Adrian Neal welcomed him with a bit of chin music to start with, the short ball. I know you love your Twitter, John. Just want to read you one tweet from Peter Barron from a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, did you spell my name right?
The former retired, now retired Dutch captain. He said, "Yesterday I played veterans hockey and the 16-year-old Vikram Singh was named in the Dutch cricket team for the first time. I'm jealous that he has it all in front of him. Just imagine what he could achieve. Go well, my young man."
Yeah, that's nice. He's a whole life and a whole career ahead of him. But this is the man scoring the runs. Tobias Vise, a 28-year-old on 26. 36 for 1. He chases a wide one. A little quizzical look from the umpire at the far end, but it's a dot ball.
Yeah, good length from Neil. Right in the block hole, even though it was wide of the stumps. Tobias Vise couldn't get anything to work with there. Loves to hit the ball down the ground powerfully. So good change up from Adrian Neal. Short ball followed up by the Yorker.
In the context of a T20 game, this is tight bowling from Scotland. Just the one maximum so far we've seen. couple of fours from Vise. He forces that into the offside to Leisk. And 1 to the tally.
Good aggressive stuff from Adrian Neal here. Hits the block hole twice in a row. Good execution of his skills. I can imagine the bowling coaches this week have been tearing their hair out, John. It's been a real batter's paradise throughout the entire 4 matches we've seen so far.
Yeah, the feature of the World Cup we saw in England earlier this summer was the fact that there was no chasing 400s down. And it made for more exciting forms of cricket, with not the bowlers not being dominated by the batsmen throughout the series, and it was actually good to see, and it was probably more entertaining form of cricket. I know we've had some big scores this week, and Scotland plundered the Netherlands, but outside of that, last couple of games we've seen, although there has been some attractive strokes, the bowlers haven't been really plundered by maybe 1 or 2, but Neil, having conceded a few in his first over, much more circumspect, and this is second. That's a good length, nicely chopped down on by Singh.
Yeah, and I've no doubt that Vikram Singh will be just having a few nerves. 5 off 7 deliveries. T20 international, where the average run rate's been 9 or 10. It's a difficult breeding ground for a young 16-year-old.
Cries a catch. Well, that's gone up and over the infield, and is that going to run away for 4? No, it's not. It's cut off on the boundary by George Munsey. Munsey scored 127 the other day against the Netherlands and restricts that to 2. That ends the over. 5 gone, 39 for 1.
Yeah, that shot had a little bit of a shade of George Munsey in it as well. Looking to power the ball down the ground. Hasn't quite developed the strength yet to maybe clear the ropes, but gets back for a couple. And really like the look of this young cricketer. He's elegant, he looks composed, and he doesn't look overawed on his debut. And you have to give credit to the Dutch coach Ryan Campbell. He's made a brave choice. He's left out both Baresi and Myberg, who are 2 of his most experienced batsmen, 2 of his highest run getters. In fact, the 2 highest run getters in T20 international cricket. So he's looking towards the future, he's looking to the youth. And there's a 16-year-old at the crease at number 3.
As we mentioned, the Netherlands, this is not their full squad for the T20 qualifiers in the UAE. Experienced players like Ryan Tenduscati will come back in. Rolf van der Merwe, Tim van der Gugten also will be included in their squad. Scotland, that's going to be a wide down the leg side. Scotland's, this is their squad, all bar Josh Davey. So as you say, Netherlands experimenting a little bit more, giving youth its head. Scotland just trying to cement what they think will be their starting 11 for those qualifiers next month.
Yeah, the one other name that's going to come into that Dutch squad as well, John, is Colin Ackerman from Leicestershire, who set a world record this year, taking a 7-wicket haul for them in the T20 Blast. So 4 big names to come in.
That's scooped in the air. There is a fielder underneath it, and it's nicely taken. That's Neil underneath it, steepling ball, and he had to make a number of adjustments before he actually got under it. But Vise's gone. He tried that shot early on in the innings, didn't quite come off. That one, when he got bat on ball in the end, good catch.
Outstanding catch, and just as the ball was in the air, it didn't look as though Adrian Neal looked too comfortable underneath it. He had to rearrange his body, but he managed to get both hands to it, take a good diving catch to his left, and that's the end of Vise looking for the reverse scoop shot. And one really interesting point to that delivery, just as Ali Evans got into his gather, the white rag that he had out of the back of his Scotland shirt just fell onto the ground. I don't know if that in any way put Vise off, but the reverse scoop shot has proven the downfall of Tobias Vise, and it means it will bring the high scorer from yesterday, his career T20I best in that innings of 91, the big tall left-hander Ben Cooper, to the crease at number 4.
27-year-old Australian born, made his debut against Afghanistan in 2013. He's standing in his 40th T20 international today. approaching nearly 800 runs. 91 against Ireland. Hit the winning 6 off George Dockrell yesterday, indeed. Man of the match display from Ben Cooper. And the Dutch are amongst them now, or the Scots, I should say, amongst the Dutch, with the 2 openers gone. The young and inexperienced 16-year-old Singh being joined by the more experienced Ben Cooper. And if Scotland can rid of Cooper in particular, the big hitting Cooper from yesterday, well, they'll be definitely amongst them. Quick single, nicely taken as well. Singh just took off immediately and got to the non-striker's end quite comfortably.
Yeah, he doesn't look out of place there by any stretch of the imagination. Vikram Singh, 16 years of age, quick between the wickets. He's probably not going to quite have the power yet to clear the ropes with the reckless abandon that we've seen of some of the batting this week, but he's doing a good job rotating the strike. Brings Cooper on to face Ali Evans for the first time today.
It's the last over of the power play. 2 fielders can only be outside the inner circle. Cooper straight away off the mark. Big tall man. Just a couple of strides to get down the 22 yards to the far end.
I was talking to Ben Cooper, interviewing him after his innings of 91 yesterday, and he was saying he really enjoys batting with Maxwell O'Dowd. So calm at the far end. And the thing that impressed me about their partnership yesterday, their partnership of over 140, was just how well they paced their innings. Even though they ended up needing 36 off the last 4, it never looked in doubt really, and they ended up getting over the line with 5 balls to spare. Just see a little niggle for Ali Evans. The Scottish physio is running onto the pitch. I wonder will he be able to complete his over here.
He's just had a shot there to your right hand side. Evans is with the physio. There he is. Just a little concern. He's halfway through this over, and having taken a wicket in this over, that's just a little concern is of his right shoulder. If you just joined us, the Netherlands, Peter Seeler, the captain, winning the toss today and deciding to bat, but both teams relatively happy with that particular toss because Kyle Kurtzer has said that he would have bowled anyway. It's the second meeting of the sides in this GS Holding T20I series game. Scotland hammering the Netherlands in the opening match. The Netherlands look all at sea in that game by 58 runs, but the Netherlands gathered themselves tremendously yesterday to beat Ireland by 6 wickets and put themselves joint top of the table with 6 points apiece. Evans is definitely in trouble here. He's working that right shoulder, and there is concern for him.
Yeah, and that's the last thing that the Scottish coach Shane Berger will want any of his players, let alone one of the spearheads of his bowling attack. And you can see the physio working in. It's almost underneath the armpit of Alistair Evans, and he's had a good week with the ball for Scotland. This is not what you want. The lead up to such an important month next month. You can see he's trying to explain to the physio what happened. He thinks it was at the release of the delivery, and you'd have to think he's not going to be able to finish out his over here.
No, he's coming off the field to play. So somebody will have to finish his over. Kyle Kurtzer is now talking to the rest of his team about who is going to finish this over. And I think Safi Sharif is coming on as a replacement substitute, and Michael Leask will be the bowler to complete this over for the luckless Evans, who has departed. And the way things were out there, you would think that he may not play much more role in this Scotland bowling attack. Maybe come back later to bat, but he certainly looked in trouble.
Safian Sharif is going to come on and act as a subfielder for quite possibly the remainder of the innings, as you said, John. We wish Ali Evans well. Let's hope that it's nothing more than a niggle for the moment, but he's gone off for treatment, and his right arm seam will be replaced by Michael Leask. It's always a horrible job for a bowler to have to come on and just bowl 3 deliveries. There's been three balls gone in this over. We'll just get those graphics updated for you at the bottom of your screen now.
They've replaced the Fast bowler with a spinner. Right arm off breaks. And immediately he gives away runs. Singh whips that one around the corner for 4 runs. Nicely placed.
Yeah, the first boundary for Vikram Singh in international cricket. It's a bit of a loosener really from Leask, short and wide outside the off stump, and he really is elegant, this left-hander. He loves to guide the ball, and it's been really impressive as to how he's found the gaps on the offside.
It's been a decent power play though for Scotland so far. Again, a similar kind of shots and good stop, diving stop as well by Ollie Hers. Just the single.
Yeah, Leask just bowls orthodox off breaks. No huge variety or variation in them. Doesn't have any mystery to his spin, and that's what we've been lacking this week.
And so he just bowls 3 deliveries, Michael Leask, the end of the 6th over. And the Netherlands have advanced. The scoreboard, unfortunately, in front of you is wrong. They're 47 for 2.
From the Malahide Castle End, wearing shirt number 90 is Tom Searle.
Well, we will be fixing those graphics for you, but I can tell you it is 47 for 2. 2 out. Tobias Fise for 27. Max O'Dowd out for 1. Vikram Singh is there on 13, joined by Ben Cooper. And we're going to change the bowling now at the Malahide Castle End. And for the first time today, and the first time in the series, we're going to see 23-year-old Tom Searle and his right arm off breaks. Just behind square on the offside. They should come back for a comfortable 2.
Again, that's clever batting from Vikram Singh. He's not just manipulated the ball into the space, but he's done it at a pace where he knows he can get back for 2. Really good, clever touch from the 16-year-old.
Down on one knee. That should be caught. And he's gone. Comfortable catch from Colin McLeod. Out on the boundary ropes. Much bigger boundary out there compared to the other side of the ground because they've moved things in. So, as you mentioned earlier on, just didn't quite have the power to clear the ropes there, and a comfortable catch in the end. And the Netherlands now just in a little bit of bother at 49 for 3.
It's ended up proving his downfall. He's tried to hit into the wind to the larger side of the ground with 3 men on the leg side. He'd be disappointed with that. He falls for 15 from 13 deliveries, and an innings that showed a lot of promise is going to fall short. It's a slow, long walk off. He'll be replaced by the Dutch captain, Peter Seelaar. But plenty of promise for the 16-year-old. He's off the mark in international cricket. 1 boundary to his name, that boundary for 15 for Singh.
Peter Seelaar winning the toss today, deciding to bat. 32 years of age, appointed as captain to the national side following the retirement of Peter Boran. Made his debut back in 2008 in the World T20 qualifiers against Kenya in a match played here in Dublin. Plenty of experience at this level. 54th T20, has the highest score of 96. That was actually against the Scots. 1 for 27 against Ireland. And indeed part of that team, that historic team that beat England in the opening match of the 2009 tournament at Lord's in the T20 World Cup, of which Ireland qualified as well. Good stop by Tahir. Short fine leg. I'll just give you a score update because you don't have the graphics on screen at the moment. 49 for 3 now. Men out, if you say, for 27. O'Dowd's gone for 1. Singh gone for 15 off 13 deliveries. And another good stop as well. That short, fine leg by Tahir. And the Dutch just getting a little bogged down now in the 7th over. And loss of 3 wickets as well. So it's a bit of a rebuilding now for Ben Cooper and Peter Seelar. Much flatter delivery this time, and he can't pierce the infield, Seelar. It's a good first over from Sol. He's got a wicket. And the young man, 16 years of age, Vikram Singh, caught in the deep by McLeod. And this time it's whipped through the leg side for just a single, though. And that'll bring up the half century, but the Scots will be well pleased the way things have gone. 7 down now, 50 for 3.
Yeah, it's the 50 up at the end of 7 overs for the Netherlands. Remember, they won the toss this afternoon and decided to bat first. Looks like another very good wicket, so perhaps they're a little bit behind the 8 ball at the moment, going at just 7 and over. And I think, John, we might have our first change of the afternoon, as I'll bid you a short adieu. And I'm delighted to welcome in our guest commentator. And that guest commentator who's going to come and sit to my left and join me through the middle overs of the match is a man with a smile on his face at the moment, because Shane Berger, the Scotland head coach, you're very welcome. And you must be pleased with the start to the game today so far.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me on air. Actually, it's probably quite bizarre that you get to sit here and commentate during you while your team's playing. So it's quite a unique experience, I think. Yep, smile on my face. I think we've been pretty good. I think we've been pretty good in the first 6 overs. Guys have committed to the game plans, and it's a lovely day out in Malahide.
Yeah, we've brought the sunshine, the Indian summer for you at the end of the year here. Tell us a bit about what you've taken from this week. It looks to me like you've got a young, dynamic athletic side. They've fielded really well. What else have you taken away from it?
I think I've taken away that we've picked quite a dynamic sort of squad in terms of we believe we could bring any of the 15 into the playing 11 at any point and know that they're going to make an impact on the game. I suppose for me as a coach and the selectors, there are going to be a couple of selection headaches, which is you rather have it that way than the other way. And I think that's credit to what the organisation has done over the last few years, just in terms of getting the depth a little bit stronger.
Yeah, we've got Hamza Tahir operating around the wicket to the left-handed Ben Cooper, and just punched into the leg side for a single. We seem to go with a lot of spinners today, and good to see Tom Sol come in and get a wicket in his first over.
Yeah, Soli's been really good. Soli's been really good. You know, he's come into the side, missed out the first 2 games, and then now he gets his opportunity to really come in and show what he's all about. You know, also another dynamic cricketer, 3-in-1 player, can hit the ball out the park. But we just saw in that first over the sort of quality he can bring. Also, don't underestimate how important it is for him. He's had a bit of blast cricket this year, so he's had a bit of experience in the English county setup too.
Beautifully bowled, big appeal from Matthew Cross behind the stumps and given straight away, deceived through the air, struggling to keep the smile off Shane Berger's face to my left, the Scotland head coach. That's a beautiful delivery. Turn, he's done Seeler on the flight, little bit of drift, little bit of dip, and Matthew Cross with the quality of his glove work behind the stumps, that was always out. Beautiful bowling.
Fantastic stumping by Crossy behind the stumps. I tell you what, the surprise package of the year for me so far has been Hamza Tahir, the man with the ball in his hand at the moment. He went across to Aberdeen in our first round of Cricket World League 2. You know, he got 10 wickets. And now he's really sort of stamped his mark in this T20 side too. Really excited to see what the future holds for him.
Yeah, he took 10 wickets in just 3 ODIs. And tell us a bit about that Cricket World Cup League 2. You're going to have 36 ODIs over 2.5 years. It was a disastrous start. You lost to Oman. Was that your first game in charge?
No, we had the May ODIs versus Afghanistan and Sri Lanka, so they just thought they'd throw me in quietly into the international scene, and unfortunately those were quite interrupted by rain. But no, Oman played really well in that first game. They caught us really really cold. I would have thought, a few of our guys came back from the T20 Canada League and we assembled relatively late, and it just shows you that if you're not on you're not in your best performance, another team's going to put you away.
And you bounced back really well to beat Papua New Guinea twice and Oman once, so you're currently top of the table in the Cricket World Cup League 2 structure.
I think that was the impressive thing for me, is the way the team bounced back after that first defeat. I think it shows a lot of character for the guys to come back and play the sort of cricket that we know we could play. We had to jig the sort of the team around a little bit according to the wicket that was presented there, and I think we did that pretty well in terms of getting a lot of spin in. And the spinners did really well, the guys that came in, and I think the batters adapted really well to the Aberdeen conditions too. So that's something we've spoken about quite a lot within the setup too.
Beautifully bowled again, just drifting on with the arm outside Ben Cooper's off stump. That is 8 overs gone, the score 55 for 4. We are just getting those graphics back up for you in the coming moments at the bottom of the screen. Shane, you're from South Africa originally. Tell us about how you came into this role. You saw it advertised. You were working with one of the first-class provinces down in South Africa. Delighted to come into international cricket, I'd say.
Delighted to be in the international scene. I think I finished my playing career in South Africa, and I was very fortunate to get straight into coaching. And then I had 3-4 really good seasons with KZN Inland, which is a first-class team in South Africa. And obviously there was something that Scottish cricket might have liked in terms of a young coach and what I could bring to the system, and I was just thrilled when I got the opportunity to come over and get into international cricket really soon in my career.
Yeah, another great to see a South African come up to Scotland and take over the role. You took over from Grant Bradburn, who did a fantastic job. Probably will live in Scottish history with that famous win over England in the ODI last year. See the off breaks continuing. The new man to the crease is young Baz Delita. He's just 19 years of age, and just getting those graphics back up, you can see now 55 for 4 after 8 overs. Have you been surprised by the high scores this week? The pitches have played really well.
Yes and no. I think in terms of where world cricket is at the moment, I think T20 cricket in general is very high scoring. I think the wicket has been a really good one. It promotes, high scoring games, smallish fields, and we know with the bats that these guys play with nowadays, you can Munzi showed on that first day miss-hitting 80-metre sixes. So it's an exciting time to be involved in cricket.
Yeah, that innings from George Munzi, 127 not out. Such an exciting player, big appeal given. That finds the outside edge of Ben Cooper's bat. He's distraught. The man who made 91 yesterday has to go. And Shane Berger's stint in the commentary box is bringing about wickets aplenty. I've got the Scotland head coach to my left here. And Scotland are right on top. Netherlands fall further to 56 for 5. It was flatter from Seoul. Skidded on. Maybe a little bit of turn as well, Shane. And how good is Matthew Cross with the gloves?
Well, again, Crossy just shows his value with the gloves in hand. He's had a superb game so far. I tell you what, Andrew, I wouldn't mind sitting here all the time if this is the way the boys are going to play while I'm in the commentary box. Maybe that's the way forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We're hearing the thoughts of the Scotland head coach with me, Andrew Leonard, here today. And let's look forward a little bit. The T20 World Cup qualifier you have coming up. You're actually going to be in Netherlands group. You must be excited about that. 27 games. I think it's going to be live on television right around the world. But surely you're going to have to make sure you get one of those 6 qualifying places and get on the plane to Australia for 2020.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I think obviously the end goal is to get into that World Cup, but we certainly know that there's a lot of obstacles ahead of us. We under no illusions that we're going to have to go to that tournament and play our best cricket. We've obviously set a goal of wanting to win that tournament, and I think every other team has probably set the same goal. So we're going to have to play some really good cricket. But I'm enjoying. I think peaking at the right time is going to be important in that tournament. We've got a pre-tournament trip. We're going to South Africa, and I think after this tournament, which has been brilliant to have for the lads to play a lot of cricket, going to South Africa and then going into the Dubai tournament with a lot of cricket under our belts is going to really, leave us in a good place.
Yeah, the new man to the crease for the Netherlands is Scott Edwards. He's in at number 7, and perhaps we might see the first low score of the week, because we've had nothing but high scoring run fest so far. Netherlands 56 for 5 in the 9th over. They're struggling. Scott Edwards is away. He'll get away with at least a single. They won't come back for two. So tell us about that trip. You're going to fly down to South Africa prior to going to the UAE.
We're going to go down to Durban, and we're going to play a couple of games against the Dolphins franchise in Durban, where Kevin Peterson used to play his cricket, and actually we've got another South African that's joined the coaching staff in a fellow very good friend of mine, Grant Morgan, who's come on board, and he was the previous coach of the Dolphins. And we just thought it would be really good to get the boys into a different environment, hopefully some similar sort of weather to what we might face in Dubai, similar sort of wickets, and some different opposition. We want to keep challenging the guys to raise their game to whoever they might be playing.
How do you go about preparing for the T20 World Cup qualifiers? Obviously you know this Dutch side very well, but you'll also come up against the challenge of Papua New Guinea, who you beat twice in the ODI format last month, but also Namibia, Singapore, Kenya, and that Bermuda side who surprised USA in the Americas qualifier. You're going to have Delray Rawlins and some really good hitters of the ball to come up against Bermuda.
Andrew, the easy thing is to dismiss one of those teams or two or three of those sides even. The one thing I've realised coming into this job is you can never take any of those teams lightly. And I think they've got, a lot of those teams will have some really good players in them, a lot of game changers. And like I said a couple of minutes ago, we're going to have to be on top of our game if we want to go to that tournament and progress through.
Yeah, Scotland will be in Group A, whereas the host side, Ireland, will be in Group B. 6 sides of the 14 will qualify. And it's a really good tournament. It was actually hosted by Ireland and Scotland 4 years ago. And the two sides you're watching on your screen today, they shared the title, Scotland and the Netherlands. But right now it is Scotland on top. And we have the Scotland head coach to our left here. And you must be a happy man with the way your team are performing.
Yeah, really happy. I think a good test for us now is how we actually take the score from 58 to 5, and can we be ruthless enough to really put the game away. That's something we've spoken heavily a lot on in the last few days. So I'm really enjoying at the moment where we are, where we position, but there's still a lot of time left in the game.
Yeah, we're seeing one of the rarer things for Scottish cricket. We're seeing Callum MacLeod back to his roots. He's bowling here. He's bowling his off breaks from the Dublin Road end. Big appeal. Probably just sliding down. There is some turn on offer for MacLeod. This is something you saw a little bit in the inter-squad practice games that you had. Callum MacLeod bowled a few overs.
Well, there's no doubt Cloudy's been in Kutz's ear to get on and have a bowl. And you know what, I'm all for that. I think in the T20 format, the more you can change it up and be just a little bit different, just makes it that much harder for batters to line you up.
And you can hear the buzz in the field from the Scotland team, really enjoying this part-time off-spin of Callum MacLeod. He started with 4 dots. We'll get away. Quick single to Hamza Tahir. Half an appeal. Look at Matthew Cross's glove work. Absolutely outstanding. Taking the ball in front of the stumps. How much did you know about Scottish cricket before you took the job?
Not very much, if I'm completely honest. I think Scotland cricket was really put on the map by that victory against England. I think the world stood up and realised that there was potentially something special happening with Scotland. Now that I've been in the job for 6 months, or just over that now, it's given me the opportunity to see what fantastic work the organisation has done, what magnificent talent we have within our structures. And it's my job and the rest of the coaching staff's job now just to make sure we nurture that talent. And potentially, for me, it would be really nice to see if we could produce a world-class player and a world-class team. I think that's the goal.
Just clipped into the leg side. There's going to be plenty of time for a single, but no time for 2 because Sol is quick in off the fence. That's the halfway stage of the innings. The Dutch going exactly a run of ball. They're 60 for 5. Halfway stage of the innings, Netherlands 60 for 5 after 10. I'm here with Shane Berger, the Scotland head coach, and it's fascinating to hear his thoughts right in the middle of the game. And his side at the moment are right on top. They have the Netherlands in trouble. We were just talking about that famous win that Scotland had over England in the ODI last year at the Grange. I suppose it wasn't just the fact they beat them, but it was the way they beat them. They beat the number 1 side in the world at their own game.
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Andrew. I think it was more in the sort of brand of cricket that was played. Almost, if you want to almost say, doing them at their own game kind of thing. And now, if you look back, they're the world champions. And to say that we've won a cricket game against them and played the sort of brand of cricket that they've played is really exciting. And it just goes to show, I think every single player in that team on that day realised that there is something special brewing.
Richie Berrington back into the attack with his medium pacers, the all-rounder. Yeah, over 700 runs were scored that day. It wasn't like it was a green top and you rolled them for 140 having won a good toss. You batted first, they got 370. And then that famous moment where Safi and Sharif, I think it was Mark Woody, hit in the toe to spark jubilant scenes of celebration for the Scots all over the world. And you have to say, for Scotland, it had been coming. And how did you introduce yourself to the group? They must have been huge disappointment missing out on the Cricket World Cup in 2019 in the fashion that they did. How did you deal with that as the head coach?
Well, I think we actually we spoke a little bit about it, and we're using that as motivation to make sure that that potentially doesn't happen to us again. I think one thing it does teach you in this game is that it's a game of very fine margins. We've tended to be on the other side of those really close games, so we've got to make sure as a unit that we find a way to make sure that we turn it around. And that was bitterly disappointing for the lads, but I truly believe that they've used it in a positive way.
Yeah, Scotland missed out on the 2019 World Cup by the very finest of margins, losing on Duckworth Lewis Stern to the West Indies in really unfortunate circumstances in Zimbabwe, after looking like they were set to book their tickets on the plane, or on the coach perhaps, down the border. Just missed a superb stop from Kyle Coates at extra cover into the veteran stage of his career, but showing he can still do it in the field as well.
The evergreen Kyle Coates, I think he's getting younger. I spoke to him the other day. I said, how many years you got left? And he said to me 10 more. So we're still excited with where his game is currently, and I think he leads by example. He surely is an icon figure within the side, and the blokes absolutely love him.
Edwards comes down the track, looks to get the single, a little bit of a mix-up. They will get through for one. So you've got 36 ODIs over the next 2.5 years. You'll obviously look to try and get fixtures outside of those as well, but how important is it for your players to get opportunities in some of the T20 leagues? We saw 4 or 5 of your squad going over to the GT20 Canada. We saw Kyle Coates himself at the Everest Premier League last year in Nepal. Does that help the development of your squad?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I think the more, as a cricketer, you can put yourself under pressure in different environments, I think ultimately that leads you to improving your game. Kyle, there's no secrets that he'll tell you that going to these tournaments has helped his own game. And I'm certainly going to encourage the guys to do that. The one thing we do have over the next year is a lot of cricket, and that's something we've really asked for. It's something that players have asked for, and it's something that's been given to us, which is something we're really going to enjoy into the future. A lot of ODIs, a lot of T20 cricket.
Yeah, you're playing a huge amount of white ball cricket, and I know that with Malcolm Cannon departing, the Cricket Scotland CEO, one of his stated aims was to try and become the next Test nation. With the Intercontinental Cup currently somewhat in the mire, you don't know how much red ball cricket you're going to be able to play in the future. The focus is really on the white ball stuff.
Yeah, Andrew, look, I'm still a little bit old school. I really enjoy red ball cricket, and it's something that I know myself and the guys will still want to be playing. It's not like we want to shy away from the red ball game at all. I believe the red ball game has a serious place in world cricket to keep making the white ball game better too. And I think there's definitely something we're going to be looking to play more of as red ball cricket. We haven't focused on it during this period because of a lot of white ball cricket, but we're certainly going to bring it back into the program.
Yeah, and there's the potential to play not just 2 global qualifiers, but 2 global events. There's a ICC T20 World Cup in Australia 2020, and then there'll be another one in 2021. We saw the scenes of celebration, Scotland getting their first win at a global event out at the ICC World 2020 in 2016 in that resplendent pink away top that they had. Is that something you'll be looking to repeat, and maybe not just get to the main event, but could you get onto that Super 12 phase now and play against all the big boys?
Well, definitely a goal of ours. I'm also bitterly disappointed not to be in that Super League. That's something we were really trying to be a part of. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, So for us, we potentially could be in 3 World Cups in the next 3-4 years, and that's something really exciting to be a part of, So in terms of the next 2 years, 2 T20 World Cups, And then 2023 50 over World Cup, that's probably the big eye on that prize over there.
Which is the strongest of the formats for you guys? Do you think 50 over cricket or T20 cricket? We saw the power hitting of Munsey and Coates. Are you going to tell me T20?
Well, the politically correct answer would be to say both. I think if I'm being completely honest, we're probably a better T20 side at the moment. I think our 50 over game is still developing, but I think we've put a lot of hard work into it, and I have no doubt that that's going to keep growing, and I think our T20 side is still going to keep growing too.
Callum McLeod doing a really good job with his part-time off-spin. Remember, he started his career as a seamer before turning into a batsman, and what a fine batsman. Arguably Scotland's strongest batsman these days, making several big hundreds in recent times. But his off-spin is doing a really good job here for Scotland. Tell us about a bit of the depth that you have. I think you had some difficult selection decisions for this squad.
Massively difficult selection decisions. You know, we played a trial series before the squad, before we had to name our 15 for the World Cup qualifiers. It was a very tough selection because we had 22 names that we could potentially pick from. And not to mention that our under-19s are doing relatively well at the moment too. You know, they've just qualified for the under-19 World Cup. 3 of the better performers in that under-19 side were all still under 16. So that's very exciting, you know, very exciting. And one of the Dutch players today is only 16 years old. He's just come from that under-19 qualifying event, and so there's a lot of good talent around at the moment.
Yeah, and that Scottish side has taken the European spot at the ICC Under-19 World Cup, which is going to be back in your native South Africa. Yep. Will that be something that you'll oversee as part of your role as well, or how does that work?
Well, I'll definitely be there, whether it's in a coaching capacity or whether it's just there as a spectator or support. I'd love to see what the youth has got in the tank. So I'll be there in South Africa watching. It's a place I'm pretty familiar with, so it'd be nice if the boys want any sort of advice or anything like that. I'm around. So I'll be there, and a lot to look forward to. Very exciting.
Another change in bowling, just the one over from Berrington before we see the left arm orthodox of Hamza Tahir back into the attack. Not a huge turner of the ball, Hamza, but he seems to vary his pace quite nicely.
Well, he's got the ability to turn the ball. I think what he does really well in the white ball game now, and something that he's developed, is he different changes in paces, ability to bowl a really good arm ball, which he actually can swing with a new ball, hence why he takes one of the first couple of overs. So he's got a great ability to bowl in different stages in T20 cricket.
Yeah, and what a start he had to his ODI career. 10 wickets in just 3 games in the Cricket World Cup League 2 series. The disappointment of missing out for the Super League must have been somewhat challenged by the fact that at least you get these series of 36 matches against the 7 sides below. That's a glorious shot from Edwards. He goes on the reverse and lifts it over the infield. The first boundary for 5 or 6 overs. He actually brought his whole body the whole way around and just scooped that over the infield for 4. But those series with matches against the likes of Papua New Guinea, USA, Oman, Nepal, Namibia, the UAE, if you can finish in the top 3 of them, as we see a top edge loop straight to Adrian Neal, who takes his second catch of the day, a much easier one this time, so it's 4 and out for Edwards. You keep bringing the wickets here, Shane Berger.
Keep me here, Andrew, please. No, just to answer your question about a lot of cricket. I mean, we spoke about guys going to different leagues, and the fact that we have 36 ODIs over this period allows you to create a bit of structure, a bit of momentum, not only in the way we're playing, but in the way we're training. It also allows you to provide opportunity to a few of the fringe players. And we also still want to grow the system more in terms of more A-side cricket. We now have a performance academy, which is pretty much full time. So there's no doubt that the depth of our squad keeps growing and growing.
Do you also benefit from the ability to still have some of your players in the county setup? You'll have Josh Davey from Somerset come back in for the T20 World Cup qualifiers, but you also play a lot of cricket with the Scotland A side against some county second 11s.
I think it's quite unique that we can still use the counties. Ireland have found like they're not able to do that anymore. We have some really good relationships with a lot of the counties. You mentioned Josh. We've also got Rory Smith at Glamorgan. We've got a few of our lads at Gloucester, and Durham's got a very special link with us too. So we've got a few of our younger lads at Durham, and I believe it's a unique relationship to make sure that our guys are playing really strong cricket. I think it also provides the counties with some extra players that they might require. So I think it works both ways.
Yeah, and plenty of talent in the Scottish system. Shane Berger said, one of the most difficult squad selections Scotland has had in recent years. Plenty of players of good quality left out of the 15 that will go to the UAE. Baz Delide has been joined by the all-rounder Clayton Floyd. He's come in at number 8. Netherlands in real trouble at 75 for 6. Scotland right on top. Remember, we've seen average scores up at around 180, 190. Even Scotland themselves made a Scottish record 252. They looked at one point like they were going to challenge the world record of, I think it's 268. If George Munsey had maybe got a little bit more of the strike for the last 4 or 5 overs, they could have got there. But it's been very impressive stuff from Scotland, not just today, but throughout the week. They're looking right on top at the moment. And if they can take the win today, they'll go to the top of the table. As Tahir finishes with the dot, a good over. He's got 2 for 21 after his 3. Let's take a look at that points table. Can I ask you, how important is it to take the title this week? Will it give you a mental edge going into the qualifiers over 2 of the sides you're likely to play against?
Definitely. I think we want to win every tournament we're involved in, whether there's a trophy, whether there's a financial prize. I don't think really matters. I think it's more about the pride that we play for. You know, we're playing against 2 other nations that will probably have exactly the same answer that I'm giving you now. So it's always good to try win a series against the Irish and the Dutch. And I think that momentum you could potentially take into a World Cup qualifier, you know. So it doesn't guarantee you results at a qualifier, but I think winning becomes a habit. And for me, it's more important about how we win at the moment or how we might lose, just so that we can keep learning from that.
Yeah, and it's a side that looks like it's learning plenty, because the way they're going about their business here, Shane, is really, really impressive. If Scotland win today, they will go top of the table, and it will set up a winner-takes-all clash tomorrow. Look for the quick single, well fielded again. Floyd quick between the wickets, and Delide will get through for 1. Do you know much about the rivalry between Ireland and Scotland? It goes back an awfully long time in Irish and Scottish cricket.
I certainly know about the rivalry. The lads speak about it every now and then, and it's certainly not a hard team talk to have to motivate the guys in the morning. I think you can see the fire in the eyes, and what I love about associate cricket at the moment. And I know the Irish aren't an associate side anymore, but when you see the anthems sung in the morning and the pride that's delivered in that, I think it just sets you up for a really good day.
I'll ask you a personal question as Barrington just strays with the wide. How have you found the adjustment from sunny, warm, beautiful South Africa to cold? It's still beautiful Scotland, but it's certainly a different climate.
Scrounging around for sun cream today, I can tell you that. It's probably the first time in a while, so that's quite unique that it's so lovely in September. But it's obviously different. It's a different culture. It's a different environment. You know, we deal with things in South Africa that you potentially don't need to deal with here, and vice versa. So I think every job has its challenges.
Really good work in the deep from Safian Sharif. He's on as a sub-fielder for Alistair Evans. Evans looked like a shoulder niggle. He's gone off, hopefully just as a precaution, but a super stop from Sharif saves a single, and Floyd will get 3. Been outstanding in the field all week, Scotland. You found the transition from your playing career, you played 91 first-class games in South Africa, you found that transition through to coach. You've enjoyed that?
I've really enjoyed it. I think what my 91 first-class games taught me was actually introduction into coaching. I was never fortunate enough to represent my country, which often tells me that maybe you're going to be a better coach than you were a player. So I've really enjoyed the transition of that, and it's going to sound really weird, but I get more of a buzz out of coaching than I ever got out of a player. And make no mistake, I had some really good memories and times whilst playing.
I was looking at your Cricinfo profile, and you fill a very similar shape to Adrian Birrell, who had such success as the Irish coach. Is that kind of a blueprint that he brought to Ireland that you'd like to try and take and bring to Scotland?
Well, actually, I've got a very good relationship with Adrian Birrell, actually, and I mentioned Grant Morgan earlier, who's now our assistant coach. I think both of them are quite similar in the way that they've completely dedicated their life to cricket and cricket coaching, and that's truly 2 good mentors to have, and I've learnt a lot from both of them.
Just have a slight break in play there. I think we'll have to have the physio on. I just wonder, was that for contact with the helmet, I think, Shane, was it? Yeah, it's gone through. So we're going to go through the mandatory concussion protocol. I think he looks absolutely fine. I think with the best will in the world and respect to Richie Barrington, probably doesn't quite operate at the pace that is going to cause a concussion. But as we've seen with the tragedy of Philip Hughes and of course that horrendous blow that Steve Smith took during the Ashes, good to see the correct protocols being gone through, and I'm pretty sure that Clayton Floyd is absolutely fine, and we will have play resumed. So yeah, Eddie Birrell is a man that you might look to as a little bit of a mentor perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've actually gone down and visited Adrian at Hampshire when we got one of our other players, Brad Wheel, down there. You know, it was really nice just to get an insight from Adrian, just in terms of he's also been involved in Scottish cricket. And as you mentioned, I think he was involved for 8 years with Irish cricket, so he knows the associate setup really well. And you could only respect what he did with Ireland and with the Scottish team.
Adrian Birrell will always hold a special place in Irish fans' hearts for the amazing legacy that he left, bringing us to our first World Cup in 2007. Good tight stuff again from Barrington. An all-action cricketer, Richie Barrington. There's no doubt about that. A good tight over. At the end of 14 overs, the Netherlands moved to 84 for 6. So just 6 overs remain for the Netherlands to try and get up to something of a defendable score. Andrew Leonard here, and I've got the Scotland head coach Shane Berger to my left. Shane, is this what you would describe as a perfect day so far with the ball for your team?
No, perfect day would have been bowling them out for under 60, I think. But, you know, that's just the sort of standards we are going to set in the side and the ruthless nature that we want to play our cricket in. Look, it's been a particularly impressive performance so far, I think, but key for me is how we finish this off.
Looks for the sweep, big appeal. Given not out, he was a long way down. Baz Delete. Looked like it struck him outside the line to me there in the replay. Matthew Cross, emphatic in his appeal as he always is behind the stumps. Bowling a really flat trajectory here. Tom Sole spearing the off breaks in fast. He does so again. Comes off the thigh pad, not out. You had a really dominant win over Netherlands in the first game, and then the next day you had a defeat to Ireland. Is it difficult playing 2 T20Is in a row?
I think the nature of the energy that's required to play T20 cricket is, you know, many will think, well, you're only on the park for 3 hours, but it does require a lot of energy and a lot of thought goes into that.
Half an appeal for the run out. Matthew Cross, really good work again, but Baz Delete is quick, so that reverse sweep will gain him 2.
You know, but the expectation from a coaching side of things is we have to be able to arrive on both days. You know, the guys are incredibly fit nowadays. It gets monitored. They're on gym programs and all sorts of stuff. So it's designed to get them through a lot of cricket. And we just, unfortunately, against the Irish, I thought we probably just didn't bowl well enough. I thought our batting was still relatively good on a high-scoring wicket. But I think our bowling just let us down a touch on the day, and it's been something we've been very honest about. And today we've put that right.
And of course, that's something you'll have to do at times throughout the T20 World Cup qualifier. You will have to play back-to-back days occasionally. So something you have to prepare for well. But as you say, T20 cricket, it's a high-energy version of the game, and the way your boys go about it, you seem to try and set a real tempo in the field.
Well, I think you have to. I think for me it starts with the bowler, and that kind of goes into the field, you know. So that sort of energy, that's great. It's not always about noise. It's more about just your body language and your intensity attacking the ball. You know, you can be a 6'9" giant like Adrian Neil is, but he can, you know, surprisingly enough, still get himself around the park. Yeah,
15 overs gone. A really good tight over from Tom Sole. He's got 2 for 9 after 3. Outstanding coming into the side. And with that point, we're just going to pay a huge thanks to you to hear the thoughts of the head coach of Scotland, Shane Berger, throughout that period. It was fascinating. Really good chatting to you. We wish you all the well next month in the T20 World Cup qualifier.
Thanks so much, guys, and it's been an absolute pleasure being in here. Thank you.
Yeah, they're the thoughts of the Cricket Scotland head coach, Shane Berger, and what a job he's doing with his side. Welcome back, John Kenny, to my left now. And I think that was a really pleasant period to hear from Shane Berger, particularly because his side are going so well, John.
Absolutely. It might have been slightly different if it was the other way around, but yeah, great to hear his thoughts. As I said, It's great to hear from somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. But the Netherlands, well, it's plain to see. It's the nose in your face and real trouble here. 87 for 6. Wickets have fallen at a consistent rate. If you say the top scorer on 27 contributions, Singh, the 16-year-old, making 15 on debut. Evans is back. Is that Evans? No, it's not Evans, sorry, that's McLeod. Bowling from the Dublin road end. Yeah, Ali Evans off injured, but nevertheless, the Netherlands, well, they've fallen at regular intervals. Scott Edwards made 10. Outside of that, contributions from O'Dowd, Cooper and Sealar. Not what they desired here. And these two, Dalida and Clayton Floyd, are the ones that are trying to rebuild and at least get some kind of respectable total.
It's been a real trial by spin as well, John. And these are part-time off breaks from Callum McLeod, but they're proving really effective. Good captaincy from Kyle Coates.
Yeah, it was noticeable yesterday. You and I were here for the Ireland game against the Netherlands, where Ireland seemed to persist too much, we thought, with the seam bowlers, and really should have gone to perhaps the slower bowlers. The likes of George Dockrell yesterday took 3-4 and just didn't quite bowl his 4 overs as well. So Ireland perhaps guilty of not taking the pace off the ball, where I think the Scots have just been much better, well, A, in the field as a fielding side, but B, good captaincy as well from Kyle Coates and the way he's rotating his bowlers. And I think taking the pace off the ball on this particular pitch seems to be paying dividends.
Yeah, there was a few cracks in the wicket, and there has been just a little bit of turn on offer. Great captaincy.
That's the end of the over. 16 down, 90 for 6. Penultimate game of this GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. It's Netherlands winning the toss, deciding to bat. 90 for 6, 4 overs to go. Floyd and Dalida looking to push them close to maybe the 130, 140 mark. Give themselves something to bowl at.
They just haven't been able to get any momentum at any stage through this innings. The Netherlands, I think it's real credit to the Scottish bowling attack, but also their fielding. They've been a buzz throughout the afternoon. Even their big 6'9" fast bowler taking a couple of catches. Outstanding stuff from Scotland.
That's in the air, and it's just gone over the captain's outstretched arm. Just for a moment. It was danger as Floyd whipped one away, and Kurtz stretched his arm out, cleared his fingers by about 6 or 7 inches, and it's gone all the way to the boundary.
It was brilliant anticipation from the Scottish captain. He saw the shape of the reverse sweep, and he sprinted to his left trying to anticipate where the ball would come, but Clayton Floyd got just enough bat on it to get over the infield. As soon as you beat the infield here at Malahide, it's always going to be 4. Round the wicket now from Sol.
Oh, nearly chopped on. Scott's certainly up for this one in the field. Lots of cries of oohs and ahs when that one was almost chopped on by Floyd. He's moved on to 9 now. Dalida on to 20. Attempted sweep. Threw the shot a little early. Sol's got a couple of wickets. His first appearance in this T20I series. Tahir, Barrington, Evans. Well, Tahir has actually got a couple, taking Sealar and Edwards. Difficulty, Andrew, from the Netherlands' point of view, is they don't seem to be able to pierce the infield.
Yeah, there just hasn't been boundaries coming, and any of the power strokes they've tried to hit have ended up finding the fielders on the rope. You think about the way Vikram Singh got out on his debut, caught on the longest boundary. A lot of the time they've depended upon these push and runs for quick singles, and you can see the run rate there going at just 5.65 and over. We've been accustomed to it much higher up towards 10 and over. End of 17, it's 96 for 6.
Very good spell from Seoul. 4 overs, 2 for 15. And that is the Scotland bowling figure so far. You can see Ali Evans just 1.3 overs before he retired with an injured shoulder. Michael Leask came on and bowled his second over, finished off his second over, but some very good performances from Seoul in particular. 2 for 15, pick of the bowlers, but backed up nicely by Tahir, 2 for 21.
Yeah, we're going to see the big man Adrian Neil back into the attack. He's the most expensive bowler of the day so far, 2 overs, none for 21. He'll come back in from the Dublin Road end. Just wonder, will the extra pace give the Dutch a chance to maybe get a few late runs? Can they get up to 130 somehow?
That's exactly what he's done. Gone past the 100 mark in the most spectacular fashion. We did say that taking the pace off the ball has proven the way for the Scots to go, but the first ball on his return from Adrian Neil, beautifully dispatched by Floyd.
And rather remarkably, John Kenny, it's been caught with absolutely no fuss whatsoever by the Dutch head coach Ryan Campbell. He barely even stood up, took it with 2 hands and simply tossed it back into the field.
Oh, and it's nudged away, no slip in there, and that's going to go for 4 and 10 very welcome runs for the Dutch. South African-born Clayton Floyd debut against Scotland in the opening match with a loss by 58 runs, and Bastalida's contribution taking them on from 75 the fall of the 6th wicket now to 106, and important runs in this, the 18th over of this contest. And that's very good running by Dalida. Immediately the ball left Neil's hand, really. He was halfway down the pitch and called Floyd through. These are important runs from the Netherlands' point of view if they're going to get close to a target which they can try and defend. Very much the Scots in the box seat at the moment, you would think, the way they've gone through the Dutch order so far. But these two, Dalida and Floyd, 20 and 21 respectively.
Yeah, they're crucial late runs, John, aren't they? And you can see at the bottom of your screen for the first time the run rate actually going above a run a ball for the first time since I can remember, really. And misfortune for Neil with that outside edge, but good intent from Clayton Floyd, just coming in and starting to try and set the tempo. Baz Dalida has struggled, 21 off 32 deliveries. Really low strike rate for a T20I.
Just the one dot ball in the over so far, and that was it. Neil has been expensive. All 6'9" of him. Highest, or tallest, I should say. 6'9" in the 3 panels. Just behind him at 6'7" is Boyd Rankin.
I think we need a photo of those two, John. Measure the height between them.
2 giants of men, and finishes well. Swing and a miss. Ends the 18th over, and it's 108 for 6. Two overs to go then in this, the Netherlands innings, and the penultimate match of this GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. The Netherlands earlier this afternoon winning the toss. Peter Seelaar, the captain, deciding to back themselves and putting themselves into bat. Scotland losing the toss, although their captain Kyle Kurtzer said he's happy enough with that because he would have bowled anyway. So everybody happy. And I'll say the Scots are even more delighted now at this particular juncture, having knocked back or sent back 6 to the pavilion so far. 10 overs down. The Netherlands were 60 for 5. They are now 108 for 6. Very good bowling performance. And it's going to be Tahir, who's taken 2 for, coming up from the Malahide Castle End, and he's dispatched straight down the ground, and it's a straight 6 as well. Beautiful shot by Baz Dalida, and 6 welcome runs for the Dutch.
Yeah, Baz Dalida finally gets to open the shoulders, and it plonks straight into the Turkish Airlines advertising hoarding. He's powered that one down the ground, too full from Tahir.
Down the track he goes, and it's going to be cut off. No chance of a second. Good arm over the top of the stumps.
You can't help but think this is just significantly under par. They say that you never know a wicket till both sides bat in it, but despite the little bit of turn in it, it's still very flat, coming onto the bat nicely. If Munsey and Coates get off to any kind of a start, even with these late runs, it's not going to be enough from the Dutch.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of cloud cover. The last couple of days we've had brilliant sunshine and no clouds at all. Just a little bit of cloud cover overhead. So we go into the afternoon here in glorious Malahide. First match of this series was called off, sadly, Ireland against Netherlands, but we've got a delayed start in game 2 between these particular countries, Ireland and the Netherlands. Just worked around reverse sweep for 2 runs, and Scotland and Netherlands, with Scotland winning quite convincingly. Ireland then beaten Scotland by 4 wickets before the Netherlands turned over Ireland yesterday by 6. So it's nicely poised at the top of the table with this the penultimate game and tomorrow's final match between Ireland and Scotland. Has bowled him. Tried to go for the expansive shot, and Tahir gets his 3rd, and the Dutch lose their 7th wicket with a score on 118.
I think that might have been the arm ball, and that's the one that Scottish head coach Shane Berger was talking about. Dalida looked to give himself room outside the leg stump, but as he did, he exposed all 3 of his stumps, and it cannoned into middle and leg. Good reward for Tahir. He's got 3 for 30 with just 1 ball left in his spell, and he's proven a wicket taker early in his Scottish international career. Going to bring the big, tall Fred Klassen to the crease for the Dutch. But even if they can get some late runs, a total of 130 just feels significantly under par. This is the first stage of the week that we've seen the ball really dominate the bat.
Freddie Klassen comes to the wicket. A pair of Dalida and Clayton Floyd taking the Dutch on from 75 at the fall of the 6th wicket to 118 at the fall of the 7th. And we're in the penultimate over of their innings. Freddie Klassen, born in England, the 26-year-old, plays county cricket for Kent in his 13th T20 international. Highest score of 13. Last ball of the 9th over then. And it's in and out for Klassen. It's 2-2 from Tahir. Takes his 4th wicket of the Netherlands innings. And again, beautiful delivery. And the 8th wicket gone at 118.
That was definitely the arm ball that time. Skidded on, angled in. He came wide of the crease, and it's taken Klassen's middle stump out of the ground. Outstanding from Anza. Tahir, that's his T20I career best. 4 for 30 from his 4 overs. A really good spell of bowling. And as Shane Berger said, he just can't stop taking wickets since he's come into this Scottish side. Netherlands fall further, 118 for 8 now. But really good left arm orthodox spin bowling from Hamza Tahir. You can see his figures there, John. 4 overs, 4 for 30.
Yeah, best of 3 for 26 before this. Hamza Tahir, the 23-year-old, made his debut for Scotland against Pakistan in 2018. There's only 4 T20s before today. That brings the new batsman to the crease, Paul van Meekeren, a 26-year-old. Has plenty of experience in T20 cricket and plays for the Winnipeg Hawks in the Canadian T20 League. His 28th T20 international today. Ex of Somerset. And just 1 over to be bowled, and Neil is going to bowl it. Adrian Neil from the Dublin Road end. So if they can get to 130, get perhaps 12, which is a big order against the pace of Neil, although he has been the most expensive so far. Neil. That's in the air, and there is a fielder underneath it, and it's the sub. In fact, that's Tahir. He took it. I thought it was a substitute Sarif, but it's Tahir. He really has been the man of the moment, hasn't he? He's taken 4 in his spell, and a really good steepling catch. And that's 3-3 now for the Dutch. 118 for 9.
Yeah, team hat-trick for Scotland. 3 wickets and 3 balls. 2 for Tahir with the ball in hand, and 1 with the catch. So a kind of unique kind of hat-trick for Tahir. He'll claim that. I wonder will he be trying to nab the match ball. And a good little cameo from Floyd comes to an end. He made 21. He's given the Dutch some hope, but they're in real trouble now. Just 118 on the board, 9 wickets down, 5 deliveries remain. It's going to be Paul van Meekeren on strike, with the batsman having crossed, and the last man to the crease, John, that's Brandon Glover.
Yeah, 22-year-old in his 7th T20 international. Just the 1 innings and scored 1 when he's not facing, because the batsman did cross. 118 for 9, having won the toss and deciding to bat. This is a poor return from the Netherlands, but credit to Scotland and to Tahir in particular. 4 and ably backed up by Tom Sowell, the 23-year-old, making his first appearance, and that should be the final wicket. Oh, it's just dropped short. I thought that was going to fall into the waiting arms of Michael Leask. It just dropped short. So Glover facing for the first time with 5 balls left. Should be a wide. That's a gimme.
He's proved a little bit expensive today, Neil. He has bowled some good stuff in amongst the 4 overs. Big, tall. He'd bring up the 120 now. Just get those graphics updated. Glover in at number 11.
Just tries to swipe that away, but it's going to be cut off by McLeod. So wickets tumbling, runs at a premium. 121 for 9 now. We're slightly behind in terms of our graphics. And this is the last over. And Neil has been expensive, but this last over has proved anything but. Swing and a miss. And it remains at 121 for 9. And par score here, 190 maybe. Yeah, so this is well below par.
Certainly, John, in excess of 160. There's no doubt about that. And you can see this Dutch number 10 and 11. I think every match I've ever watched the Netherlands play, Paul van Meekeren's batted at 11. So with Brandon Glover in beneath him, the two of them struggling to get bat on ball.
At least there's 1, maybe 2. They might think about the second one here, yeah. Van Meekeren calls Glover through. At least 2 to their tally now. 123 now for 9. Last pair in.
Yeah, just 1 delivery remaining in the innings, I think, now. Not really Van Meekeren and Glover's job to be doing the business with the bat. It was the upper order that failed for the Netherlands today. Cooper and O'Dowd having batted so well yesterday, both falling for disappointing scores, and no one really able to get going for the Netherlands.
Last ball then. Tennis ball bounce and they run through. Glover runs through and that should be it. And all 10 have gone because that's a simple and easy run out as the wicketkeeper throws the ball to Neil. Runs out the last of the Dutchman and all out for 123. Well, high hopes when they won the toss and decided to bat. But that's well below what is required, we would think, at this stage. Honestly, we'll find out when Scotland bat on this, what is basically a new pitch. And 123 all out is the score. Graphics just slightly behind. But run out on the last ball of the innings. Tried to go for a quick single, 123 all out.
Yeah, you're spot on, John. 123 all out, and you can't help but think that's significantly under par. Let's take a quick look at the batting card before we let you go for the innings break. Not a huge amount of joy there for the Netherlands. The top run scorer ended up being Bas de Leede, 30 from 36 deliveries. Tobias Vissé, he flattered to deceive for a bit, didn't he? There were some impressive shots from him. But you'd have to think this is significantly under par. Scotland's bowlers, the stars of the day.
Yeah, Tahir in particular. You see it there. Ali Evans went off injured. Took 1 for 6 though before he went off on an injured shoulder. Lees finished that over for him. But Tahir, pick of the bowlers at the top of the screen there. 4 overs, no maidens, 4 for 30. And he took 1 steepling catch as well. So an outstanding performance from Hamza Tahir. Tom Sole, it's the first time we've seen him in this particular T20I Tri-Nations series, taking 2 for 15 as well. Very circumspect and terrific spell from him. And Evans, as we mentioned, Neil getting a wicket in his last over. Barrington, the other wicket takers. McLeod, just the 3 overs. But again, good bowling from him and good figures. Didn't take a wicket, but just 9 runs conceded.
Yeah, special mention for those off breaks of Tom Sole coming into the side for the first time today. 2 for 15 for him. And the part-time off breaks of Callum McLeod doing a really good job. 3 overs done for 9. So the Dutch end up significantly under par. They got 123. We'll just get that change for you on your screen. So the Netherlands will need 124 to win. We'll be back with you in about 10 to 15 minutes time for the Scots chase.
This is Joan. She works in HR and has the same routine every single day, searching through CVs, answering calls, and searching online for the dream contractor. And after all that, she still has 10 jobs to fill. Well, there's a great solution. Tech Finder. It allows Joan to connect directly with IT contractors for her location, viewing their daily rates and CVs, enabling calls, and signing contracts, and it has saved a fortune. Simply sign up, choose your subscription plan, and you have access to over 50,000 candidates immediately. Join Tech Finder today and connect with thousands of technology contractors.
choices we make define who we are. Like the decision many of us have made to switch to Toyota Hybrid, to a smooth, more economical drive. Working towards a cleaner, brighter future for ourselves and for our children. Because the world we want to live in should be made better by the car we choose to drive. Toyota, built for a better world.
You think this is fun for me? You think I'm having fun?
It certainly wasn't much fun defending your action in Tokyo. Do you have eyes on the target?
Is it her?
I can't tell from these photos. I need better shots.
Yeah, no, well...
Just don't lose it this time.
Thank you for flying to Dublin.
You waiting for someone?
No, just looking.
Worried about your next contract opportunity? Tired of wasting time online searching for the right one? Well, let the opportunities find you. Use TechFinder. It's a free service that connects you directly with companies that match your skills and helps you plan ahead for upcoming contract opportunities. It's easy to use. Simply upload your CV, create your profile, and select when you're available. Take the pain out of searching and be found by thousands of companies globally in your location and at your daily rates in real time. Join TechFinder today. Get connected and be found. Available on all app stores and at techfinder.com.
I think this year, the first game we played out in La Manga, Andy Balbirnie and Lorcan Tucker put on a brilliant partnership to chase down what was a pretty good total on a good pitch out there. So I think the way they went about that and how that started off our season and kind of fed into all the other competitions, for me, I think that was probably the biggest moment, and great to see Andy also continue that form on through the summer and probably our standout player. I think, yeah, we're very lucky. We have a number of different factors that contribute to it. We've guys coming back from England, adding to the standard, adding their kind of knowledge to the competition, helping out the younger guys, and it's great for Irish cricket, I think, to have more and more of those guys back. Again, with 3 teams, it's still quite a concentrated competition, and you know, every time you have an extra player with that experience adding to that, it only raises the standard. And I think when you bring in new coaches, it's great to have a new set of eyes and you know, someone who comes at things from a little bit of a different perspective. But yeah, Nigel Jones has been great. He's brought a lot of energy to the setup and a lot of new ideas, and I think it'll be great working with him moving forward.
And welcome back to sunny Malahide, and that's where we stand. The match summary after the Netherlands decided to bat after winning the toss and bowled out for 123. Bastelida, top scorer with 30, but great bowling performances from Hamza Tahir in particular. 4 for 30 off his 4 overs, ably backed up by Tom Sole. 15 runs, 2 wickets off his 4 overs, and Ali Evans, who left injured, sadly, and in the end 123 all out, having won the toss, as I said, and decided to bat well below the par score. And Scotland, having beaten the Netherlands in their opening match in this Tri-Nations series, very much the favourites now to go on and win for the second time and set us up for what would be a winner-take-all game against Ireland tomorrow in the final match of the series.
Yeah, you're spot on, John. I can really only see it going one of two ways here. Kyle Coates and George Munsey, this power-packed opening attack with the bat for Scotland, likely to look to end this game in a hurry. But if some early wickets, who knows, we might have a little bit of a wobble. And John, we're going to see one of the stars of the show with the ball from the entire week, Brandon Glover, to open from the Malahide Castle end. He bowled with real pace yesterday, coming around the wicket to George Munsey.
That's a decent first ball as well. It's the quickest I think we've seen all week, up around the 90-mile-an-hour mark. That's a fabulous start from Brandon Glover, the 22-year-old. 2 for 19 against Ireland. And he looks a real handful. But you're right, Munsey really has been the man in form here. 127 in the opening match against the Netherlands. Really the pick of the batting performances this week.
He's bowling with real pace here, John, and we spoke about it yesterday, but he's so like Dale Steyn in his run-up, his approach to the crease, the way he carries the ball, gets it into the right hand, and he just hit the block hole at extreme pace with his first 2 opening deliveries. Product of St. Scythian's College from Johannesburg in South Africa. The Dutch passport, what a pickup, what a find he is for this Dutch side.
They have a sip in place. Singh is there, the 16-year-old, and that'll be the first run of the Scottish reply.
Yeah, the umpire's going to signal leg byes, just thudding into the pad of Munsey. I think it's fair to say, John, the fastest bowler we've seen on show this week. There was a lot of talk about David Delaney, but certainly we've no speed cameras here this week, but certainly to the eye, Glover the pick of the bunch so far.
Oh, definitely. Pace, but also precision as well. Well, the one feature we've seen, and I mentioned this already in the Netherlands innings, is the way the teams have combined the left-right. So Munsey, we've seen him already, the left-handed. Now Kurtzer coming to the Dublin Road end, the right-hander. Facing Glover for the first time. 123 runs needed for victory in this penultimate game in this Tri-Nations series. Swing and a miss. Just tempted him into the off stump.
Yeah, it's an absolute beauty from Glover. Beats Coates outside the off stump. Beats him comprehensively. Slightly shorter length that time. Coates looking to power it down the ground. Can't get any bat on it through to the keeper, Scott Edwards. And Vikram Singh has come out of slip. Tobias Visay has gone in there. But good to see an aggressive field set by the Dutch captain, Peter Seeler. They need early wickets here, Holland.
Well, that's whipped away. And such as the speed of the delivery, it's just helped on his way around the corner by the captain, Kurtzer, and the first boundary of the Scottish innings.
Just angling into the pads of Kyle Coates, and even just that fractional errant in line has caused the boundary for Coates. He's able to get his bat on it, fine legs in a regulation position. It went fine. It's the first boundary of the Scottish chase.
That's in the air. Tries to catch it, and it's been dropped. Well, two fielders descended upon that. A bit of a false shot. They do end the over at 6 without loss, but Scotland nearly lost their first one.
They should have been taken. It's gone straight up into the air. Ben Cooper just didn't run around quickly enough from mid-off. He only got one hand to it in the end, but it was his initial movements. He wasn't quick to the ball. It's going to his weaker hand. Remember, he's a left-handed batsman. Gets one hand in it, but puts it down. The Netherlands can't afford that. They need to be taking those chances. At the end of the first over, instead of it being 5 for 1, it's 6 for none.
Yeah, they got away with one there. Cooper maybe just didn't pick it up in the background. It's plenty of trees and shrubs as the ball was coming down towards where he was. And it's, at this level, you should be taking those.
It was an awkward one for Cooper because the shape of the shot was attempting to hit to the leg side, but it skewed off the outside edge and ended up going almost perfectly straight, looping over the bowler. But it was in the air for so long. Could have been taken. Van Meekeren now from the Dublin Road end.
That's in the air. That should be out. That's spooned in the air and the first wicket, and that's what they needed. That's an easy take for Brandon Glover. And Van Meekeren strikes, and we're only in the second over. Scotland lose their first wicket with a score on 6.
Big celebrations as well from the Dutch. They know how important that wicket is. The wicket of Kyle Coates, the Scottish captain. He was hurried again for pace. Van Meekeren can get it up towards 90 miles an hour as well. He struggled with his radar in his opening appearance of the tournament, but back into the side today. He strikes with his first ball. Great celebrations. I even saw Peter Seeler point the direction of the pavilion to Kyle Coates. He told him where to go. He's gone. It's 6 for 1.
Yeah, they could have taken a wicket with the last ball of the first over, so no real damage done then. With Kurtzer back at the pavilion, and Callum MacLeod makes his way to the middle. The 30-year-old made his debut back in 2009, 10 years in this Scottish setup. Next of Warwickshire Tournament since 2018 Derbyshire. Standing now today in his 39th T20 International. And Scotland having lost that early wicket. It's a low enough target. 118 runs required now at this stage, but the Netherlands getting off to a good start. A wicket in the second over.
Both these bowlers bowling with really good pace and some hostile aggression to start the over with from Van Meekeren. I wonder will we see some chin music here to Callum MacLeod.
That's good bowling, and it's good running as well. Muncie immediately called him through for a quick single. Callum MacLeod off the mark. Highest score of 72 for Callum MacLeod, and you got that against Ireland on Tuesday. Plays in Canada as well with the T20 League there. Toronto Nationals also picked for the Edinburgh Rocks in the T20 Slam, which didn't go ahead this year, but he was part of that franchise, having been picked up in the draft. Muncie with that familiar stance, wide stance. Just worked around the corner. And one to the total.
Yeah, Callum MacLeod coming to the crease will add an air of assuredness to this Scottish lineup. He's such an experienced player. He's turned into the linchpin really across all formats for Scotland. But remember that required run rate, it's just over a run a ball, so no need to panic for Scotland. Just need to get through this new ball burst from Van Meekeren and Brandon Glover. Keep their wickets in hand.
That was quick. Nicely ducked under though by MacLeod. First 6 overs is the power play, so only 2 fielders allowed outside the inner circle. And as you mentioned, Andrew, what is the power score on a new track? This is the first time we've seen this particular wicket being used. Number 5 on the square. Netherlands certainly wouldn't consider 123 as being anywhere near a par score.
I think the interesting thing, John, is that it was a trial by spin when the Netherlands batted, Scotland predominantly using their spin attack, but the Dutch are going to their fast men to try and get these early inroads and try and get themselves back into the game and the series.
Grandstaff prepared very good wickets for batting here. Over the 5 days of competition we've seen so far. That's well bowled as well. Bit of an inside edge down to O'Dowd at fine leg. And that ends the second over. A wicket in it, and Scotland 9 for 1. And having won the toss, the Netherlands decided to bat, made 123, all out for 123 off the last ball as well. Scotland replying 9 for 1. And their captain, Kyle Kurtzer, out for 5 in that previous over. Callum MacLeod and George Munsey at bat at the moment. And I wonder will Scotland actually risk Ali Evans. Ali Evans off injured, with an injured shoulder. Just 1.3 overs from him. So maybe Scotland have just the 10 batsmen. So that'll be interesting to see. Will they risk Evans if the time comes that they need runs now for the latter part of their innings?
I think the Scottish camp will hope that it won't come down to Ali Evans down the order, usually at 10 or 11. The Dutch are going to be on the hunt for wickets here.
Well, Clamper caught behind. Down the leg side, it came off the thigh, says the umpire.
Yeah, that's clearly come off the thigh pad for my money. There was a noise, maybe actually just the flap of the top of the left leg of MacLeod. The Dutch really appealing just to make sure the wide isn't signalled.
He can get away with it, all right. There was a noise. Dutch continuing with an attacking field here, won't slip in place. Trying to get the wickets, they need them. And so far the bowling's been good, tight, accurate from Glover at one end and Van Meekeren at the other. And Scotland, who would hope to obviously get away to a quick start in this reply, just been pegged back a little. The run rate we mentioned just nudging up a little bit, 6.5 now, still no problems with 9 wickets in hand. But you just get the sense that we're starting to get a game on here.
Yeah, what a difference 2 days makes. We've seen record scores over the last couple of days, but a much lower one today.
Glover really is on the money, isn't he? MacLeod having to fend that off.
Yeah, I think he's probably bowled the spell of the entire week so far. Yesterday it was only 2 wickets that he took against Ireland, but it played a huge part in the Dutch victory, as the Irish innings really couldn't get any late momentum. Finished up with 181, and even though Netherlands only had 5 balls remaining, they were always on top of that chase.
Good shot. That's a classic cover drive, that one. Beautiful shot from MacLeod, and finally they pierced the infield. And it's gone for the second boundary of the Scottish reply.
Yeah, Glover just bowling the long half volley, and MacLeod proving too good for that, even at Glover's pace. Beats the sprawling dive of the man at mid-off, and as soon as it does here in Malahide, it's always going to be 4 runs. Just relieves the pressure for Scotland. Callum MacLeod, such an experienced campaigner. He'll look to bat through the innings here.
Glover not happy with that previous ball going for 4. There's a bouncer and ducked under by MacLeod, and the umpire decides that that was one over the shoulder, and he's given it a wide in tandem. In fact, he mentioned it already in the first innings. Alan Neil and David McLean working very well together in tandem here.
Yeah, the umpires work in partnerships these days, not just the 2 standing on-field umpires, but also the 3rd umpire, 1 from each of the 3 participating countries this week. I think on the whole they've done a pretty good job.
It's a good stop off his own bowling by Glover. Dot balls are important from the Netherlands' point of view if they're going to force Scotland to go up and over the top.
I'll tell you what was interesting chatting to Shane Berger during the first innings. Really insightful stuff from him as his side was fielding. He was saying that he feels this is his team's strongest format, the T20 format. He's got power hitters, spin bowlers, loves the T20.
That's a lovely shot as well. Again up on his toes. And cuts that away for the second boundary to end the third over. And a couple of welcome boundaries in that over from McLeod, and also for Scotland's point of view, they move to 18 for 1.
Yeah, 9 runs coming from the over. Just the 2 deliveries being hit away for 4, but that's all it takes. And that required run rate drops back towards a run of ball again. Callum McLeod, what a classy player he has turned into over the last 2 to 3 years for Scotland. Talk about that 100 in their famous win over England at the Grange, but also the 100 against the might of Afghanistan's bowling lineup in the Cricket World Cup qualifier last year. Much in the way Andy Balbirnie has turned into the linchpin of the Irish batting lineup, so has Callum McLeod.
And Meekering continues. It's a good stop by O'Dowd. Goalkeeper style. Diving away to his right hand side. Gets a good strong hand on it. And prevents not just the 4, but also a single. And that's very good fielding from O'Dowd.
Outstanding. Probably the best piece of ground fielding we've seen all week. In fact, he dove full length to his right, outstretched, as you said, John, like a goalkeeper. Got one hand on it. Saved not just the boundary. Don't even get a single. Munsey 1 off 5.
106 required. This time it's up and over. O'Dowd is going to have to chase. And it's going to be pulled back before the boundary, and 2 players working in tandem. And they make 2. And O'Dowd with a good strong throw over the stumps, but 2 more to the Scottish total.
You can see the tactics from the Dutch bowlers trying to replicate what Ireland tried to do to George Munsey. They've been looking at the analytics and they've seen that the vast majority of the runs that Munsey scores are either straight down the ground or to his favoured leg side. So Van Meekeren clearly trying to hide the ball outside the off stump to Munsey.
That's down the leg side, and as you say, that is ball is going to trickle all the way to the boundary for 4, is it? No, that's a good bit of fielding down there to prevent the 4. Bastalida down there, so they're having a little quizzical look, the 2 umpires looking at each other and actually asking the fielder, and Bastalida's actually got his hands outstretched saying, "No, I don't know, I'm not quite sure."
I think he's just managed to claw that one back in, and George Munsey's not going to get a boundary, he's going to get 2 runs. Outstanding stuff from the Dutch in the field here. 6 runs saved this over already.
That's smacked away and up and over extra cover. That should go for 4. Cries will catch it. Clayton Floyd was the nearest to it, but that's gone all the way for 4.
And Van Meekeren going against his own plans. He's, instead of hiding the ball away outside the off stump, he's bowled into the wheelhouse of George Munsey. Anything on his legs, he's so strong there. Hammers that one to the leg side. And of course, John, that's a shorter boundary on that side of the ground today, with us moving over towards pitch 5. The first use of that pitch today in this tri-series. Too easy that for George Munsey.
Is that out? They're claiming it is. They're just waiting for the signal from the umpire. It's not given. Every one of the Dutch players went up. The wicketkeeper, the bowler, absolutely convinced they got a touch.
Here's the replay. It looks awfully to me like there was a glove on that. You could see the reaction from George Munsey, and what an appeal from Paul Van Meekeren. You won't see him any more emphatic or euphoric than that. He was certain it was out. It was a good catch taken by Scott Edwards behind the stumps. Has George Munsey got away with one there?
It looked very, very close. They don't walk these days. If he got a glove, only he will know now, because the umpire Alan Neil decided that that was not out. 26 for 1 it remains, but it's all going on out there. Van Meekeren bowling a very fast spell here. Scotland trying to eke out the runs to get to that target. 98 runs now needed. Terrific contest this. And that ends the 4th. 26 for 1.
What a moment in the match we've just seen. 8 runs and no wickets coming from that Paul van Meekeren over. But off the penultimate delivery of the over, it looked for all the world like Paul van Meekeren had his man. It was a short, sharp bouncer.
Yeah, it looked like there was a deviation, all right.
Yeah, we've just watched it back on our screens in front of us here, and it looked like it's come off the glove. And the really interesting part for me, John, was the body language, the reaction from George Munsey. He looked like he knew he was out. He was sheepish. But all that matters is the umpire's decision. Given not out, Munsey survives.
I think we're going to see a change of bowling now. Having had 2 overs from Brandon Glover. We're going to see Fred Klassen, left arm medium, a 26-year-old in his 13th T20 international. Klassen bowled by Tahir for naught. One of 4 victims for Hamza Tahir in their batting. Remember, Netherlands winning the toss, deciding to back themselves and put themselves into bat. They made 123 all out. 98 runs required now.
Yeah, Fred Klassen's going to have to be at his very best here to help drag the Netherlands back into the game. But 3 really good pace options. He's going to come around the wicket to the right-handed Callum McLeod.
That's nicely dabbed by McLeod. He got a bit of treatment, Fred Klassen, in the match against Scotland, not for 46 in his 4 overs, and he hasn't started well here, and that's nicely done by McLeod.
Yeah, he was certainly looking to open the face, perhaps not run it that fine. It came off the outside edge, but with 3rd man in the circle, as soon as it beats the ring, it's always going to be 4, and it's brought about a change in the field because the man sweeping on the offside boundary will come up into the circle, and the 3rd man will have to go back.
Still in power play. That's better from Klassen.
I've liked what Klassen has done around the wicket, in particular to the right-handers. He's tucked them up nicely. We've seen him hit the block hole a few times. We've also seen him have some problems with the return crease, bowling 2 no balls in the first match with his back foot. He also bowled a front foot no ball yesterday, so the coaching staff were out working with him yesterday in the training ground on that. Bowler with great potential, the big tall Kent seamer.
That's nicely done by McLeod. Much more controlled stroke that time. Don't forget, this is the penultimate game of this T20I Tri-Series. Second meeting of Scotland and Netherlands. Scotland having won the first encounter between the two by 58 runs. They're still very much in the box seat, need 93 runs now and bang on 6 and over. And if they were to win, they would jump to the top of the table with 8 points in the final game of the series tomorrow against Ireland, would set us up for a winner-take-all. And it'd be interesting to see what kind of crowd we get tomorrow, if that actually comes to pass on a Friday in Malahide. It's free in if you're in around the area. If you're watching us around the world, greetings from sunny Malahide. Great day's cricket we've had for this Tri-Series.
Yeah, and I think it could set the whole tournament up brilliantly, couldn't it? It would be a grand final, a virtual final on a Friday. Maybe people in Dublin taking a half day. If we can get this kind of weather again, we could have a bumper crowd. The Clash of the Celts, free in here at Malahide. It'll be a 1:30 p.m. start again. And it's, I think, just what the tournament deserves. It's been a really good week's cricket.
Yeah, at this stage we thought we would be in the middle of the T20 Slam. Postponed for at least a year. No dates confirmed for next year's tournament yet. So this was arranged to give these two countries, and Ireland indeed, a chance to get some practice, a much needed T20 practice in ahead of the World T20 qualifiers next month. These two sides are in the same group, as we've been alluding to. They will meet each other in the UAE. But for the moment, slightly different approaches from both of these countries. The Dutch using this one not to bring all of their squad confirmed for the T20 qualifiers, but using it to blood the likes of Singh, the 16-year-old. Ball out to Singh, who collects easy enough. Scotland, though, are using this tri-series to play all of their players bar Josh Davey, who won't be featuring in this T20 series. End of 5, 33 for 1.
I think what this week has shown, John, as well, is just how tightly matched these three sides are. You'd have to think they're three of the favourites going into the T20 World Cup qualifier. Of course, the defending champions of Scotland and the Netherlands, they shared the title 4 years ago in the last edition of that T20 World Cup qualifier. But if you look at the points table here on your screen, things couldn't be much tighter between these three sides. Nobody unbeaten. And certainly, I think any of these sides capable of beating each other on their day.
Ireland with the best run rate. That's the reason why they're top of the pile. The first match between themselves and the Netherlands was called off, postponed, I should say, really, because of the weather conditions. It's a little interruption we had, well, not interruption, but a delayed start in the second game between Netherlands and Scotland. We got through that on the Monday, grey overcast day, but since then it's been glorious weather here in Malahide for these games. A quick single and a throw at the stumps and head and hands time.
Oh, direct hit.
Yeah, McLeod was in trouble with a direct hit there.
Direct hit would have been close, I think, John. It could well have been out. And you can see that's why Paul van Meekeren is holding his hands to his head. It was well picked up. I think it might have been Peter Seeler, the Dutch captain. Or else it was, in fact, it was Clayton Floyd, the left arm spinner. Picked it up cleanly, and a direct hit would have been out.
No doubt about it. McLeod had given up on it. You could see he was just running through, bat in the air as well. He thought he was out. He knew he was out if that hit direct. He was the one who called the quick single. And he survives. McLeod on 17. Muncie not at his free-flowing best here. We've seen him plunder the Dutch bowling attack in the opening game between these sides. 127 for him. Just on 10 now. We're only in the 6th over, last over of the power play. Ball just doesn't seem to be coming onto the bat as Muncie has desired.
Yeah, perhaps this change in wicket affecting both sets of batsmen. I think the Dutch bowlers have been much better today, though. Muncie, an ugly agricultural hoik, but they were the ones he was sending over the ropes just a couple of days ago in that Scottish record innings of 127 not out against the same opposition, against the Netherlands. The Dutch bowlers have had nightmares about George Muncie.
Isn't the beauty of the game, Andrew, because even though you think it's the same pitch, it's the same piece of turf cut on the same square, but it's playing differently, there's no doubt about it. We use the same wicket for the first 4 games. Just a switch today, and it has certainly made a difference, all right. Not as free-flowing in terms of scoring.
I tell you, Paul van Meekeren's got a real head of steam up, John. He's bowling with the kind of pace that he's become renowned for. The tall flying Dutchman over at Somerset County Cricket Club. You can just tell how much these Dutch cricketers benefit from that county cricket experience. So many of them in and around the county setups on the circuit in England.
Van Meekeren was the best of 4 for 11. That actually was against Ireland back in 2016. In terms of T20, the Netherlands have been Ireland's nemesis over the last few years. 34 for 1, coming to the end of the power play now. Muncie on 10, McLeod on 17. Just about a run of ball from McLeod. Muncie a bit more circumspect today. Van Meekeren and Glover in particular bowling at a terrific pace. That's going to go all the way. You can hear the click of the bat, and it clears the advertising hoardings as well, and that's a beautiful shot straight down the ground from Muncie, and that's his first maximum.
It's a slower ball from Van Meekeren, the off cutter. It was picked by Muncie, picked a long way away, didn't get up, and Muncie has simply hammered that down the ground into his favourite area over long on. That soars into the sky. That'll be a 6 on any ground in the world, John. That is the power that George Muncie possesses. He set the cricketing world alight just a few days ago at that innings of 127. Had the social media ablaze. I think this is a young man we're going to see in T20 leagues all around the world.
Oh, no doubt. When he hits them, they stay hit. 26 years of age. Made his debut against Ireland back in 2015. Oh, well, that's all going on with that delivery. That's a no ball, and it's gone for 4 as well, so 5 no balls. And the head of Muncie was the one we were concerned about there. Ball completely slipping out of Van Meekeren's hands, and 5 more to the total, not helping the Dutch calls at all.
Yeah, it was a complete accident. You can see Paul Van Meekeren apologising immediately, looking for the block hole. It slips out, and it not only goes head high, but significantly above head height. And what a nightmare for Scott Edwards, the Dutch keeper. He couldn't do anything about it. It's going to run away for 5 no balls. And what's more, John, that means we'll have a free hit. You don't really need to give Munsey 2 opportunities, but he'll have a freebie here. He can't be out off this delivery with the exception of a run out.
And the DJ chimes in with Rams, wake me up before you go. It's kind of appropriate, really. And this is going to be a free hit, so we've had 11 runs off the last 2 deliveries, so 79 required now. And Scotland, I wouldn't say they were in trouble, but got bogged down a little. Now it's scoring freely and very much in the box seat, and we're down to 5.5 runs per over, and this is the free ball.
The slight hold up in play there, sorry John, was because the 2 umpires were just actually confirming that it's 5 no balls, but the 4 are byes. So it's 1 no ball and 4 byes, and that's what Alan Neil was indicating to the scorers there.
And a wide, so he's going to have to do it all over again.
Yeah, poor old Paul Van Meekeren, his spell was going so well. He bowled 2.5 overs with 1 for 12. In fact, he should have had 2 for arguably. He was convinced that he had Munsey caught behind.
And we were convinced of it too, really.
Yeah, watching the replay, it really looks like it came off the glove of George Munsey through to the keeper, Scott Edwards. But now he's in trouble because he's still got this free hit to get through. And his captain, Peter Seelar, is coming over to him saying, what sort of a delivery can you bowl? Remember, you can't change the field because the same batsman's on strike.
Been a long over, this one. That's in the air. Should be out. Cooper's underneath it and takes the catch, but unfortunately from this point of view it was the free hit, and just 1 to the total.
Yeah, it was a slower ball again, this time bowled into the pitch short of a length, not allowing George Munsey any pace to work with. And Ben Cooper, who has not just dropped a catch today, but he already dropped one early in the week. He does take that one, but it doesn't count for anything. They'll run through for the single with it being a free hit. And all of a sudden, at the end of the power play, it's advantage Scotland.
Yeah, Van Meekeren's figures really spoilt in this over. McLeod now facing both of these batsmen on 17. Run a ball, and the asking rate now well below 6. 5.44 and 9 wickets in hand. That's good running. Immediately called through. 6 down. 48 for 1. So end of the power play, and Scotland very much in control here now. 48 for 1, that Van Meekeren over. Very, very expensive. And the power play ends at the end of 6 overs. George Munsey on 17 and Callum McLeod on 18. And they now need 76 runs for victory in this, the penultimate match of the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. Netherlands against Scotland. If Scotland, you would think they go on to win from this particular juncture, do so, they would jump to the top of the table, and it would be a winner-take-all match tomorrow against Ireland, also here at Malahide, 1:30 start local time. A change of bowling from the Malahide Castle End. I think Clayton Floyd is going to be coming on. Floyd with his right arm off breaks. Just having a word with his captain, Peter Saylor. It's left arm spin, yes, left arm spin. The Dutch will be very disappointed at this stage of the game, obviously having backed themselves and putting themselves into bat. They did have Scotland in all sorts of trouble early in this reply, but they've just been let off the leash really in the last couple of overs, and Scotland very much now in the box seat.
Yeah, these are going to be the crucial overs though. Can the Dutch spinners exert the same kind of control that the Scottish spinners did? So Clayton Floyd, who had a very tough game in the first game of the series, needs to bounce back here. That's good from Floyd. He bowled the opening over of the match, remember, against Scotland, and he found the outside edge of Kyle Coates, went straight through the vacant first slip region. Just the second ball of the match, Coates went on to get 80 odd. Munsey 127.
He was dispatched for 16 runs, wasn't he, in that over as well? Attempted cut shot. There's a man there, backward point, and Singh. In the 7th over, 48 for 1. The opener, George Munsey, still there on 17. They're claiming that one, and it is. Second wicket, caught behind, and the spin bowler, Clayton Floyd, does the trick, and Scotland lose their second wicket. 48 for 2 now.
Brilliant catch behind the stumps from Scott Edwards, and nicely bowled. It was flatter and quicker outside the off stump. McLeod looked to cut, and John Kenny, there must be something about us bringing the head coaches into the commentary box, because as soon as we do, we're just about to be joined by Ryan Campbell. He literally entered the tent before that delivery, and immediately Floyd strikes for the second wicket.
Yeah, beautifully bowled, well taken as well by Cross. And it was a sharp chance. And second wicket falls in the 7th over. And they're 48 for 2 now. And you compare that, the Netherlands were 47 for 2 at the end of 6, so, you know, all is not lost here yet.
Yeah, and a little word for the two keepers today. That catch from Scott Edwards was absolutely outstanding. We saw Matthew Cross earlier. We were talking with Shane Berger about how impressive his glove work is. They're the unsung heroes of the international game, the wicket keepers. They often don't get the love they deserve, and that was a really good take from a quicker delivery from Clayton Floyd. And what a difference a few days makes for Clayton Floyd. Really difficult day against Scotland in the opening match. Well, it was game 2 of the tournament, the opening match we saw playing. But he's bounced back really well here. 3 dots, followed up by a wicket. Sealer's on the attack.
Yeah.
Gets himself into slip.
Richie Barrington in as the new batsman. Barrington, the 32-year-old, in his 52nd T20 international, and immediately off the mark. Nice little push shot just to get himself off the mark, and add 1 to the Scottish total, coming towards the end of the 7th over. You add, it's the old adage in cricket really, you add 2 wickets to this score, suddenly we got a game on. Scotland very much in control of this one, despite the fact that they've just lost McLeod. And Barrington, we know, can bat, and Munsey certainly can at the other end.
I think what's good to see as well, John, is that Peter Sealer's captaincy, he seems a bit more in control today. He made an awful lot of changes in that opening match against Scotland when they plundered his bowlers everywhere. He's backing his bowlers a bit more, giving them a chance to get into their spells.
Last ball of the 7th round the corner, but there is a man there, and that'll end the 7th over, and Scotland just shy of the 50 mark, 49 for 2.
Yeah, thanks to John Kenny as always, and I'll bid John adieu for a few overs. And for the second time today, I'm really pleased to be joined by one of the 2 head coaches today, perhaps a little less happy than Shane Berger was when I was with him. But Ryan Campbell, you're very welcome to the commentary box.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's the coverage has been outstanding. From all reports, a lot of people around the world have been watching, and to be honest, the Tri-Series, it's been some fantastic cricket, mate. Obviously, you know, the first game when we got hit for 250, we were really disappointed with the way we bowled. But, you know, even in our defence, the 197 that we batted beautifully, and then the next day we batted really well again. So disappointing today, obviously. We just didn't get our momentum up, and partnerships are a big thing for us, and unfortunately we couldn't get that going, kept losing wickets, and, put us right behind the 8 ball.
Change in bowling for the Netherlands Fred Klassen's going to come back into the attack from the Dublin Road end, just changing ends he is. Can you put your finger on what we've moved wicket? We've gone up 2. Can you put your finger on why it's such a lower score from the batsman today?
Look, I think it was Scotland bowled very well with their change of pace, and it's a lot slower wicket. And I think the spinners obviously bowled really nicely. And the problem is, though, in this form of the game, if you keep losing wickets, you can't take a risk against the spinners to put them under the pump. And I think that we saw that evident today.
Klassen, as he often does, coming around the wicket to the right-handers, just tucking up Berrington into his pads. It just felt like the innings never got momentum going, very few boundaries hit, but even difficult to rotate the strike at points.
Yeah, it was. And like I say, I think Bustelator was a key indicator of that the other day he was so positive with his movements, and he found hitting the ball harder, picked up singles easily, whereas today he went back into his shell, tried to dink the ball around instead of actually playing good cricket shots. And again, he was also one mind was, obviously we'd kept losing wickets and he needed to stay in. So it was a disappointing display by us. We know that we're a lot better batting side than that, but it's put us under pressure for our bowlers, and our bowlers have been below par this trip, and we've spoken a lot about that. I thought our last 10 overs against Ireland was fantastic, and that kind of is our blueprint of how we want to go about it. Even in the first 6 overs today, I thought Glover and Paul Van Makeren were outstanding. They were aggressive with their length. Obviously, Paulie got it wrong where, the no ball, the head higher, and even that slower ball to Munsey when he's set a field for wide holes. And we have one very clear rule in our team, is that we never double bluff. So I'll be talking to Paul Van Makeren when I see him. Don't worry about that.
Klassen is hit into the leg side. Vikram Singh down there at fine leg. That's the shortest part of the ground, with us having moved over 2 pitches. But there's been some really pleasing points for you in this tournament. The way you bounced back yesterday to beat Ireland was an absolutely outstanding performance.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really proud. I was really proud of the players. Like I say, I think it was 2 for 110 after 10 overs, after being bashed a couple of days before. It would have been very easy for us to hit the panic button. But, the bowlers showed, a lot of pride, and actually just took a breath.
It's worked fine off his legs, and there's going to be a chase on at fine leg. Really good fielding. We've seen an improvement in the Dutch fielding today. I hope you won't mind me saying, Ryan, you're a little bit disappointed, particularly in game 1 when you conceded 252.
Well,
wasn't just the bowling that was poor, not up to the usual Dutch standards.
No, it wasn't. And again, that's what happens when you're getting bashed. Suddenly you go into your shell as a fielding group as well. And, we spoke about that. Like I say, the back half of yesterday, they, instead of panic mode, they actually stopped, took a breath, worked their way through and communicated to each other.
That's powered into the deep. That's the power that Munsey possesses. Klassen misses the block hole, and it's the shorter boundary that far side. That's where Munsey's strong. We were just talking about it with John Kenny. That one flies all the way for 6. It's the golf shot follow-through that Munsey possesses.
Well, he's one guy that I think, I've had a fair bit to do with George. I actually brought him over to the Hong Kong Blitz when I was in charge of one of the teams. And, he's a talented player, and I think his all-round game has improved out of sight. I see that, when he plays 50-over cricket for Scotland, they're batting him at number 5 now, and he's done really well from there as well. But, in T20, he's a dangerous character. We know that, Munsey and Coetzee possess so much talent at the top of the order that, I think pretty much every team's team meetings takes up just about those two. How are we going to get those bloody out? But, it's one of those ones, obviously if the umpire give it out when he got bounced would have been nice.
We looked back on the replay of that, and it certainly appeared to come off the glove. Alan Neil didn't think so, but I don't think I've seen many more exuberant appeals from Paul Van Makeren in probably the history of the game.
Well, again, we never talk illy of the umpires, of course, but I think when you know that someone is so important to a batting lineup and it can hurt you in so many ways, obviously if you think you've got him out, you're pretty happy about it, but not to be.
Looking for the block hole, but again drifting down the leg side, back-to-back wides from Klassen, and that's the pressure Munsey's putting back on the tall Kent Seamer. He's been really impressive in his own way this week. He can hit the block hole with real regularity for you.
Yeah, he's again. I think he's a great story for any young cricketer out there. He he was a Dutch boy who stayed behind one winter, to work really hard on his action and what he needed to do. Although that's not what we're after. But
3 consecutive wides down the leg side.
But he works harder than anyone else. He'll leave nothing to chance. He'll from the input of his nutrition to how he works out in the gym and literally through hard work, we just couldn't keep him out. And he's one of those guys, when we first selected him, he very sheepishly came up to me and sort of said, well, I'm happy to pay for my airfare and all this sort of stuff because, but that's the pride he has in playing for the Netherlands. And, it wasn't surprising that when we played against Kent last year and he did really well in 2 T20 games that they came a knocking and snapped him up pretty quickly.
Does find that block hole outside the off stump this time, but umpire Alan Neal thinks that one's a wide. Fred Klassen can't quite believe it, and remarkably our graphics at the bottom of the screen are struggling to fit them in, but that's 4 consecutive wides. I think even without being biased, you're going to say that's a little bit harsh perhaps, Ryan?
Oh, well, it's actually an area of the game that I think the bowlers should own the line. We always talk about the tram lines, and it's a guide, but let's be honest. This T20 game now has become so batter friendly. Generally, we play on flat wickets, small boundaries, big bats. I actually think the bowlers should get some sort of relief, so to speak.
That's the end of the 8th over. It was a long one. Scotland are 63 for 2. Scotland 63 for 2. They've gone past the halfway stage of this chase. As you can see, the graphics at the bottom of your screen, they require just 5 runs and over. I've got the Netherlands head coach Ryan Campbell with me to my left. Andrew Leonard here bringing you these pictures. Ryan, tell us about your move across to Dutch cricket from Hong Kong where you had such success.
Yeah, it was, I'd had an eye on Dutch cricket for a while. I had a young mate of mine who I was looking after, Michael Swart, and helped him get the deal done to come and play for the Netherlands. So, ever since that, I'd always had one eye on them. And with my career, I guess, playing with Hong Kong and coaching with Hong Kong, when the opportunity came, I was asked to get interviewed and obviously put my best foot forward, so to speak, and was lucky enough to get the job. And it's been a wonderful experience. Obviously, we've had plenty of ups by winning the World Cricket League, which of course every associate team wanted. We now go into that Super League next year, and we've drawn Pakistan first series, which is awesome. Obviously, we have the World Cup coming up that we're hoping to qualify for. And mate, my coaching philosophy is pretty simple. It's about embracing our younger players. I think we've used 24 guys since Oman with all the games that we've played this year, and that's about giving them experience at the hardest level to find out where they're at.
Cut away powerfully, but straight to the man, Maxwell O'Dowd in the deep, who's out on the deep point boundaries. He's just going to be a single as Peter Seelar comes into the attack.
Yeah, it's probably well documented. We have 6 or 7 guys playing county cricket, and we also have guys in New Zealand who play provincial cricket. So I know that they're playing good cricket.
Munsey looks for that reverse, which he so enjoys. Just going to be a single out to the deep.
So I need to expose my players, my youngsters from Holland in particular, to the biggest league. And we lost 4-0 against the UAE, and definitely copped a bit of stick about that. But the facts are we got to blood more youngsters, and they played continuously cricket, and not just playing, but actually getting in a role where they have to bowl 4 overs or they have to bat at 3 or 4.
You gave it a podcast to the emerging cricket guys, and you were quoted as saying this is as strong a squad as Netherlands has ever had, and one of the most difficult selections you'd had for this panel. You've left out your two leading T20I run scorers, Wesley Baresi and Stefan Myberg. That must have been a really difficult decision.
Yeah, really difficult. I think it's a reflection of where we're at as a group moving forward. That when you're leaving guys like that calibre out of your squad.
Bowled him. That's brilliant from Peter Seelar, and he gives it the big fist pump as well to celebrate. Munsey does love that switch hit, but Seelar's darted it in, and his off stump has come flooding out of the ground. Our streak with the head coaches in the box picking up wickets continues.
I might have to stay here longer, but it's a good piece of bowling. Obviously, we're very aware of George's power with his reverse hitting. If you actually look at our field, we'll always have that set. But again, it's a good wicket. It's like I say, we're not going to give away and just walk away into the night, so to speak. We believe that we can win from any situation. But getting back to our squad, mate, I guess I do have the difficult situation. I think we're a bit unique, although I noticed Pakistan do it as well, that I'm the only selector. So when I sit down with my squad to select it, obviously I'm very close with the captain, Peter Saylor, and my assistant, James Hilditch, and we talk along about certain things, but obviously I've always got one eye on the future, plus one eye of winning now. And again, that's why we played so many youngsters, and that's why suddenly the emergence of Philip Busavan would never have been given an opportunity. We love a leggy. I believe that every great team has a leg spinner. You'll see a lot more of him in the next few years. And, the Tony Stiles, we've seen Buster later, and again, without putting pressure on him, will probably captain the Netherlands for the next decade once he takes over, because we just hold him in such high esteem.
Oliver Hare is the new man to the crease, the big left-hander who's having his second incarnation as international cricketer. Great over from Peter Seelar, the Dutch captain. 4 runs coming from it, and the crucial wicket of George Munsey. Do we have a game on here? Do we have a twist in the tail? Yeah, I played a couple of times against Philippe Boissavan when I was over touring with the Leprechauns. Yep. Really talented leg spinner, turns the ball, but also the youth that you're backing. Vikram Singh, T20I debut today, 16 years of age.
16 years of age. I don't think there's too many more exciting players around in associate cricket as this 16-year-old kid. And I know, to be honest, we wanted to keep him away from T20. That was my honest opinion, because we want him to develop as a 50-over player. But he just made so many runs, we just couldn't not bring him. So, mate, he's got a long way to go, and he's one of those that'll be in the frame for opening against Pakistan in those first Super League games. Max O'Dowd has been very good, of course. Tobias Vicey has been excellent as well. So we're starting to get some options.
Going to be left arm spin from both ends, dropped. Hit straight to the captain, Peter Seelar, who's known as one of the best fielders, not just in Dutch cricket, but in associate cricket, and he's put it down.
Oh no, that slipped out on air too. Oh no, I'm glad that's all I said, but yeah, that's a soda, and Pete never drops catches, and you'll be disappointed about that.
He was hit powerfully by Barrington, but it's the kind of chance that he would have expected to take, and to add insult to injury. You can see Peter Seelar off camera there, just hitting the ground in frustration. Barrington steers that one behind square on the offside. That's the second catch that has gone down today. You'll be disappointed with that, Ryan Campbell.
Very, very disappointed. We pride ourselves on our fielding. We're probably one of the better fielding units going around, but yeah, disappointing.
Hit into the leg side by Barrington this time, just going to be a single. I know Vikram Singh only got 15 or so, but he really looked like he belonged out there at the
He
age
didn't look
of 16.
out of place, did he? He didn't look out, and he's a big boy. He's growing all the time, and the other thing is he actually bowls not bad pace as well. So there's a bit of future in his medium paces. So, mate, we won't rush him, and I'm saying that as he's debuted at 16. He's already been rushed, but we'll make sure that we pick and choose where we use him.
Powered down the ground by Hares. He'll get off the mark. Ben Cooper doing the work long off.
And to be honest, it's the same with Philippe. It's very easy. We could have played Philippe today, but we're very mindful of his workloads. He's got a month coming up of playing a lot of cricket in Oman and Dubai, where the wickets are going to spin. So.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that T20 World Cup qualifier coming in. You've got 4 men who aren't here who'll come into the squad. Tim van der Hoogten, Roelof van der Merwe, Ryan Tendashade, the legend that is Ryan Tendashade, and an exciting one for you, Colin Ackerman. Tell us about those 4.
They're not a bad 4 ins, is it? No, we're quite excited about those 4. Yeah, look,
Slog sweep from Hares, and he does have power. That's going to clear the rope for 6. It's the shorter side of the ground. A really good shot from him.
Yeah, we're excited about our ins. Everyone knows about Roelof van der Merwe. Wears his heart on his sleeve, and the other thing about him, Colin Ackerman, who's we've always known he's had a Dutch passport. He's played in Holland for a number of years, played in our Pro Series as well, and he's been itching to come and play for us. It's just a matter of his Leicester commitments and trying to get the gap, so to speak. And Tendo, of course, is the greatest ever player the Dutch has ever had, and it's simple as that. We worked very hard to bring Tendo back. He had a long absence out of Dutch cricket where I think we were going through a period where it was pretty amateurish, and that's no disrespect to all the guys back then, but it was get together once, go play a tournament, have a few beers afterwards, and Tendo was such a hard worker, and he just wanted the consummate professional. I think a bit of it got too much for him, and then I think he made 200s in his last World Cup in 2011. So we've spoken long and hard with him, and he could see the improvement in our programs. And when we played against Essex, he was blown away with our talent and skill. And so he came back in Dubai for that last World Cricket League games, and he's committed to us whenever he can. Obviously, he's the captain of Essex, so hence he's not here. They're about to hopefully win the championships. But he brings that calmness and unbelievable ability into our middle order.
The pace of Brandon Glover back into the attack, driven by Barrington. Going to be work directly in front of our commentary position for Tobias Faisé, who fields well and restricts it to 2. Talk to us about that Cricket World Cup Super League. It's the kind of thing that associate countries could only dream of. 8 ODI series, 24 guaranteed matches against the best sides in the world.
Well, it guarantees us now something to sell, and I think every associate team, we all have our money worries, of course, and for us, that guaranteed of 3-year fixtures, we know when they are, we know where they are, we can sell that product. We own our rights, obviously, our media rights, and when you're talking about we play Pakistan, we play England, we play the West Indies, we play New Zealand, we play some of the biggest teams in the world. So, we're really looking forward to that. We obviously. I think the biggest thing about associate cricket nowadays is there's such a bond between the top associates and all the associates around the world, but particularly those high-performance countries. When Scotland beat England, we celebrated just as hard because, we're all in it to show the Big Ten, so to speak, that, we want to play, we want a piece of this.
Glover round the wicket to the left-handed Hares, just straying down the leg side, still operating at really good pace, Glover. You'll be flying the associate flag in that Cricket World Cup Super League. Do you think you'll be able to go and compete? Will you be able to go and win games in these series?
Well, that's our plan. The facts are if you finish 12th of 13, you get to stay for another 3 years. So that's what we're aiming to do. So, we believe that, we're going to have to play really well. We've drawn Zimbabwe, and I'm not just pointing out Zimbabwe are a good team, but we had a lot of success against them this summer. Obviously, we play Ireland.
Cut away by Hares, and even though third man is out, it's going to be just one bounce in front of Vikram Singh. Nearly an opportunity. Good bowling again from Glover.
Ireland will be, we believe we're going to be competitive. We think we can beat Pakistan on any given day. I think it's one of those things that if teams come and take us lightly and don't do their research, don't do their homework, we're going to cause an upset. And I think Scotland would be the same. I think Ireland, obviously we're now a full member, don't have to go through it, but they're in the same boat. When they play the Big Ten, you're hoping for them to just have a little bit of a bad day.
Cut away powerfully. Brilliant stop from Saylor. He'll still be disappointed with himself for dropping Barrington, but he saved 4 there. It was on his weak side. He went right-handed, made the stop, and nearly threw down the stumps at the non-strikers end. Outstanding from the Dutch captain.
And again, with those sort of guys we're talking about, the Wes Barasis, the Steph Mybergs, they're still in the frame for all that sort of stuff. We know that the talent that they have. So, you throw those back into the mix. Like I say, the talent we have here that's been on display, plus the 4 guys that aren't here, and I think we can be competitive.
Really good pace from Glover. I want to ask you quickly about Brandon Glover as
He's
well.
Another beauty.
Like 23 years of age, he runs up like Dale Steyn. He doesn't bowl far off Dale Steyn's pace.
He's a great story. He's another one who rang me a long time ago and said he was obviously Dutch passport and he was keen to move to the Netherlands and play. And we were in a training camp in Pretoria, and I sort of said to him, why don't you come over to Pretoria and so we pretty much see what you got. And of course the batters went in and he came in and bowled the first ball and everyone just looked at each other and you went, we're going to pack this boy up, he's coming with us. And the batters were quickly not wanting to go into his net.
Short ball, probably too short. It will be signalled wide, and a misfield with the gloves from Scott Edwards. They're going to get through for 2 wides. Yeah, he's a product of St. Scythian's College where Kagiso Rabada went to school, and that's actually a school that has an exchange program link here with Ireland. His brother played in Dublin.
Okay.
So really good system that, and there's a great link between South African and Dutch cricket.
Yes. Well, I think it's generally because South African, there's a lot of Dutch heritage. You know, the Dutch, it was their country for a while, I'm pretty sure, back in the history of the day. So, you know, there's a lot of Dutch passport guys there.
Full driven down the ground. That's a really good shot from Richie Berrington. Looking for the block hole Glover as he's found it so often. He found it brilliantly yesterday against Ireland, but this one turned into a long half volley and powered down the ground by Berrington.
He's a good player, Richie Berrington. But and again, when people are listening, please don't think that we're not interested in our homegrown talent, because no one has put more effort and more time into our homegrowns. You know, we have a situation, I think, in the last series against against Zimbabwe, there was 8 homegrown of the 13-man squad. Everyone else is a Dutch passport, but that 8 of 13. And when I took over, there was 1 of 13. And now we've seen that we've continued to push and push and push. But, you know, the facts are, if you have a Dutch passport, it means you're Dutch. And if you're going to be committed, come and live in our country, play top classer, you know, get involved in the system, whatever happens after that, then you're in the mix for selection.
How important is the T20 World Cup qualifier to you next month? It's a tournament that the Dutch have had great success in, not just the qualifier, but the main event, beating England twice, going on and playing in the Super 10. That's a full toss from Sealer, hammered into the deep. He knows immediately that's going to go for 6 as Oliver Hares clears the rope on the shorter side. But how important is it to not just get through that qualifier, but go on and maybe kick on to the Super 12?
Well, I think that it's, for every associate, it's everything. You know, it's well documented, and again, without being too political, you know, the World Cups have been reduced to numbers that we're pretty disappointed about. You know, the 50-over World Cup being 10 teams is pretty ordinary.
That's brilliant batting from Hares. He uses the reverse sweep this time, showing why he's been brought back into the squad after a gap of 9 years. Back-to-back boundaries from Hares.
And of course, you know, the T20 World Cup, I think when everyone has seen around the world that every international game now has T20I status, and, you know, to get to a World Cup it's so big. I know that for those 6 teams who finally get through, and it's going to be tough, you know how associate cricket, it's so hard, it's going to be to get through. But if we manage to do it, obviously we'll be extremely excited. I think it's one of those, as a coach, I think a few blokes, if we don't make it, our careers might be over, that's for sure. But that's part and parcel of coaching.
Slog sweep again from Hares. This is really brutal hitting, but a good stop in the deep will keep it to just 2 runs. That's Clayton Floyd out there doing the fielding. You were the coach of the Hong Kong side here 4 years ago in 2015 during the World T.
No, I was the assistant coach.
The assistant coach at that point. But it seemed that 2015, with the fact that that tournament was broadcast globally for the first time and an associate-only tournament, it was almost a new height for this level of the game. And do you think, with the way the game has moved on in the last 4 years, so many of these countries specialising in only T20, the quality of cricket we're going to see next month, it will probably be the best ever.
Mate, best ever, easily. We, you know, speaking to Shane Berger last night, it's just the standard of play from everyone. Not just that, you know, there's 6 high-performance countries, but then the next, you know, we don't know. Bermuda brings something fresh to the table. Canada, throw Nigeria in. There is not going to be any games. I know we've drawn Scotland in our group and plus Namibia, and those boys hit it so hard. Mate, there's not going to be any easy games, that's for sure.
12 overs gone. Scotland 106 for 3. I've got the Dutch coach here with me, and a slightly unhappy one because it looks like Scotland are going to get home to victory. We'll just keep you with us for one more over, Ryan. We're talking about the T20 World Cup qualifier next month. You've got a group with Scotland, Papua New Guinea, Namibia, Singapore, Kenya and Bermuda. We're talking about the strength and depth of associate cricket. The likes of USA and Nepal, Germany, they're not even in the qualifier.
That was a massive surprise. We'd all watched USA go about their work, and Nepal, I think, are 11th in the world at the moment. So, look, and that's the thing. If you go to any of these tournaments and you don't bring your A game for every single game, you will lose. You will drop one. And if you drop one, then the pressure goes on. So, whoever wins your group obviously is automatic qualification. So we don't want to go to the playoffs. We want to be at the top of the tree to sort of take that pressure off. But, to win the group, it's going to be hard work. Obviously, Scotland are easily the favourites, and so they should be. They've been an outstanding white ball team for a number of years now. But, like I say, we're going to go there. We're going to be very confident, and I believe we are taking probably the greatest ever squad we've ever assembled. But it all stands for naught. If it's all on paper, you've got to go out there and perform.
Paul van Meekeren back into the attack from the Malahide Castle end. He's bowled with real fire and pace today, the tall Somerset seamer. Here's some of that fire again. Dot ball will be signalled, one for the over. How do you go about preparing for the conditions in the UAE? You've got a tournament beforehand in Oman?
Yeah, so we're going to Oman. There's 4 other teams going there. I think Ireland are going for one. Nepal are going. They thought they were going to qualify, so they obviously had already committed. And then there's Oman, Hong Kong, and I think one more. But, we get 4 games there, and the conditions are very similar. And it'll be the first time we get a whole squad together for those 10 or 11 days, and we can work out on exactly our plans and who fits in where.
Hit into the offside just over the outstretched arms of Clayton Floyd, and Oliver Hare is showing a real power-packed game that he hasn't shown us yet so far this week. Super striking from the big man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good shot. He hits the ball hard, that's for sure. And the other thing that having such a strong 15-man squad is the spots. The competition for spots is going to be red hot. We're taking 5 fast bowlers with us. We've got a number of batsmen that can do. Tobias Vicey, for instance, is a wicket keeper. So if Scott Edwards plays or not is still questionable, I guess.
Yeah, how do you make the decision between those 2 keepers and which way to go? We see Tobias Vicey out in the field today.
Well, again, this tournament, I don't think you've quite seen the best of Tobias, but I think everyone around the world has, and we believe he's something quite special. But again, Scott is our number 1 wickie, and his batting is so important, especially against spin. So the only way that he would probably miss out is if we're trying to get in a different mix with our bowling lineup. So
down the leg side, I think that's going to be 5 wides. Paul van Meekeren can really bowl at express pace, but just occasionally his radar can wobble a little bit.
Well, Paul's a great example where he's very rusty because basically he's been in the second 11 system, in the county system, and he's had a lot of injuries and hasn't played enough. So, for us, we need to get Paul up and running and playing a lot. Generally, he's our number 1 pick, but again, like everyone else, suddenly a Brandon Glover who bowls like the wind, and we've got other options. We have Ackerman can bowl spin. Van der Merwe bowls spin.
7-wicket haul taker in the Friends.
Van der Merwe bowls spin.
T20
Sailor bowl spin, and we got Busavan. If we want to go all spin, we can. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting selection debate.
Yeah, just struggling here a little bit to finish his spell. He's been really impressive. That one's going to be signalled leg boys. Just 4 more to win. A little bit unlucky this time, Van Meekeren down the leg side and thuds into the pad of Oliver Hares and gets away past Scott Edwards. So after this, you'll have a week back in the Netherlands before flying off to Oman?
Yeah, better spend a few days with my 2 young children, my wife. So yeah, that'll be nice. We got some plans. Obviously the other thing, we don't have outdoor nets now, so it's everything's closed down in the Netherlands. So we'll have some indoor sessions, nothing too heavy, but then we'll get our way to Oman and keep our fingers crossed.
There are the thoughts of Ryan Campbell, and just as we are about to bid him farewell, he does leave us with one final wicket. Ryan, a little bit of late joy in the innings, and a deserved second wicket for Paul van Meekeren.
Yeah, a little bit of late joy, but like I say, it's been fantastic for us to come in, for the 3 countries to throw this together so fast. With it's well documented. Unfortunately, the slam fell down, but hopefully that's back next year. For you guys who've covered it so well, thank you. It's been absolutely outstanding. The amount of text messages and tweets and stuff I'm getting from back home and around the world saying about the coverage. So, and I think that's also added to associate cricket, because we get to see everything more. The old live stream is just so effective, and to you guys, thank you.
Well, you know how to win friends and influence people. That's Ryan Campbell, the head coach of the Netherlands. An outstanding chat with him. We'll bid him farewell. Looks like his series is going to unfortunately end with defeat, but fascinating to hear his thoughts. And I'll welcome back John Kenny. John, just 13 overs gone. This game looks like it's going to be all over.
Yeah, I'm going to be busy now as I need 4 runs. All right. Yeah, interesting thoughts. And great to get both head coaches and, as I say, somebody who knows what they're talking about in terms of what's coming up for these 2 associate nations, and indeed Ireland as well in those T20 qualifiers. It's all a build-up to that. Obviously, the Netherlands will be disappointed to lose today and lose for the second time to Scotland, having lost so heavily the opening match between these pair. But it's all about preparation. It's all about giving youngsters a chance. It's all about moulding your squad together. And that's the most important thing. These games are obviously very important. They're build-ups. As I said, there's more build-up matches to come in Oman before the big one for these 2 sides, in Ireland as well, in those T20 qualifiers. 120 for 4, just 4 needed for victory now.
Yeah, and Fred Klassen is going to return into the attack for possibly the final time today from the Dublin road end. It was a good cameo, that, from Ollie Hare's 25 he made of just 13 deliveries, but only 4 to win now.
Michael Leask is in at the non-striker's end. You'll get to see some action. They might think about a second one here, and they are going for it, as I doubt it has a long way to come in from the leg side boundary, and they're safely home, and just 2 runs needed for victory. Klassen was very, very expensive and wayward in his last over from the Dublin road end. 2 runs needed now. Barrington on 23, and Leask, I was thinking he was going to face, but he was called through for the second run, and it was good running from Barrington and Leask as well.
And I wonder, is this innings from Scotland showing that actually we were probably right in what we thought about the pitch? It's probably more like a 180, 190 par. Netherlands well under par today.
That should do it. Whipped around the corner, and 4 runs and a shake of hands between the 2 batsmen, and Netherlands dispatched, and Scotland will jump to the top of the Tri-Nations Series table, and it's a winner-take-all game tomorrow in the final match between themselves and Ireland. And the Netherlands put into bat, or putting back at themselves and batting, making 123 all out, and chased down easily in the end. Scotland win by 6 wickets, and only in the 14th over. Easy peasy for the Scots.
Yeah, that 6-wicket margin of victory not really doing the full picture justice. Remarkably, nearly a third of the overs remaining for the Scots. But what that does mean, John, is that it sets it up for a grand finale tomorrow, because Scotland will move to the top of the table, but to retain their place at the top of the table, they're going to have to beat Ireland tomorrow. It's a virtual grand final.
Yeah, and the locals will be happy with that. So if you're in and around the area and you're listening in here, why not pop down? It's free in tomorrow for the final game, as it has been all week. Ireland beaten by Scotland in their opening game. And now the Netherlands fall to defeat. They can't win now. It's between Ireland and Scotland improving their run rate as well, net run rate, but that would only come into play if tomorrow's match is abandoned. But the weather is set fair, so we're going to have a full day's play tomorrow. It certainly looks like it, but 2 teams troop off, and just to be very disappointed there. But we did say at the onset that both teams were happy enough the way the coin toss had gone. Netherlands backed themselves to bat. Scotland would have preferred to bowl, and in the end, it's the Scots who prevail.
Let's take a look at the batting card, John. because it was really all about Scotland today. They've won with such ease, and perhaps the only slight disappointment for their head coach, Shane Berger, no one really kicking on. Lots of starts and then getting out. Even Richie Berrington was dropped in his innings. 27 for George Munsey, 27 not out for Richie Berrington. And a really pleasing little cameo from Oliver Hare is showing why he was brought into the attack.
Yeah,
of the team.
and noteworthy there is the amount of extras given away, 24. That's just too many. And too many wides bowled by the Dutch bowlers. Let's
take a look at those bowling figures from the Dutch. Not much joy. And even though Brandon Glover and Paul van Meekeren bowled with real pace, Klaassen struggled. And just 2 overs each for the 2 left-arm spinners of Clayton Floyd and Peter Seeler.
I thought Floyd and Saylor both bowled well, but Klaassen was way too expensive, as Van Meekeren, even though he did take a couple of wickets. So that's the match summary. Netherlands all out for 123. Scotland easing to victory in the 14th over. 126 for 4. Tahir was the pick of the bowlers, really, and took a really good catch as well. Van Meekeren 2 for 32. Barrington 27, Munsey 27 as well, and nice little cameo there as well from Ollie Hare's 25 of 14 deliveries. Scotland winning by 6 wickets.
And we will leave you here, but before we leave you, we'll just show you the points table one last time. Scotland on top with 8 points, Ireland in second with 6, but what it means is, as long as we have a match tomorrow, and with the weather hopefully set fair again, we've had 3 or 4 glorious days now in Malahide, it will be winner takes all in this GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. So from me, Andrew Leonard, and from John Kenny to my left, it's farewell for now. We will both see you tomorrow. It all starts at 1:30 p.m. Tune in then.